I'm still speechless. I'm still speechless. I'm still comprehending that the New York Giants are a 6-1 football team. There are currently 2 teams in the NFL right now that have 6 wins. The New York Giants are one of them. Giants are 6-1. And I don't want to hear that the Jaguars aren't that good. No, the Jaguars are pretty good. I gave the Jaguars respect going into this game. The Jaguars have some talent. They're good for a 2-4 football team. Okay? I don't want to hear, oh, well, the Packers lost again. I don't care. We beat the Packers. We won. We beat the Baltimore Ravens. We beat the Tennessee Titans. We're 6-1. It's time to start buying a bit into this football team. Did we have injuries today? 100%. We've had injuries every week. And we'll see what the severity of those are. I'm sure they'll get MRIs tomorrow. And maybe some of you guys have heard some things that I haven't because I ate right after I did the video and after I did the live stream and everything else. But I'm sure we'll hear some news on that. And in terms of Evan Neal, in terms of Daniel Bellinger, in terms of, I think it was Ben Bredesen as well, that went down with an injury, who's been playing much better for the New York Giants as of late. But regardless, we found a way to overcome and get a victory. Was this win perfect? By no stretch of the imagination was this win perfect. By no stretch of the imagination. The defense struggled pretty much all game. You know, when you look at the final score, add 7 to that. That's what we should have given up. They fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line when they were clearly driving for a touchdown. Great play by Xavier McKinney. Now, they did get some key stops. They had the 4th and inches stop, which was probably the biggest individual play of this game. They had the 3-and-out after the offense did not come up with the 4th and 2, where I thought Dable actually made a mistake going for that personally, even though I do like when he is aggressive. But the defense had their struggles today. There's no doubt about it. But what a good team does is when one side of the ball is not getting the job done, the other side picks them up. And that's what the New York Giants did. Early on in the year, it was the defense picking up the offense. Today, the offense picked up the defense. Daniel Jones was great. Daniel Jones was really good. Really good. And he's proving week in and week out that he is improving as a quarterback. The game plan today by Kafka was great. It was great. He saw what Jacksonville did. He anticipated what Jacksonville was going to do, which was stack the box. Daniel Jones made the necessary adjustments at the line of scrimmage, and he threw the ball to start the game. They threw to open up the run. And what did that do? That made them honor the pass more. It made them ease up a bit. And then Saquon had his fun in the second half. Daniel Jones as well used his legs. The Giants ran for 239 yards against one of the top 3 running defense coming in the National Football League. They were giving up 3.9 yards per carry. The Giants averaged over 6. Jones had over 100 yards. Saquon had over 100 yards. We continue to dominate in the time of possession. Kayvon Thibodeau, I don't care what the stats say. I see people on Twitter telling me he's only got one sack all year. I don't care. Watch the game. Kayvon Thibodeau was getting consistent pressure off the edge, consistently, specifically during the end of that game. Getting consistent pressure off the edge. He must have been held 6 times. He must have been held 4 times on the final drive. Referees weren't calling it, but the guy had his arm around his neck. Kayvon Thibodeau was fantastic. Continues to improve as a football player. Dexter Lawrence continues to improve as a football player. Fabian Moreau, incredible performance from Fabian Moreau. And I'm going to continue to give this guy his flowers. This guy needs to start for this team going forward. I don't care when Aaron Robinson gets back. Fabian Moreau's been a diamond in the rough. We picked him up off the scrap heap. All of a sudden, this guy's a good, very good starting cornerback, the way that he's played the last 4 or 5 weeks. What's his name? McLeod. Like, we are getting contributions from all over this football team. Nick McLeod had a huge pass breakup. Nick McLeod blocked the extra point attempt, which at the time was a huge block because it made it so if the Giants scored a touchdown, I think they'd be up by 3 rather than 2, and we'd lose to a field goal. So he had some big plays. Just everybody. The offensive line gets better week in and week out, or they at least they're consistent in terms of their progression. They're getting better. They opened up a lot of running lanes as that game went along. The pass protection was there. Daniel Jones was only sacked once all game. Jones's pocket awareness was great. It was just a complete team victory. Saquon Barkley, you can't go out of bounds 3 times in the last drive. You gave them 3 timeouts, but you're my guy. And he's still the best player in this team. He's still the MVP of the New York Giants football team, but he's got to stay in bounds. Otherwise, the defense doesn't have to go through that stop at the end of the game. But luckily for him, luckily for the New York Giants, and luckily for their fans, The defense was able to keep them out of the end zone, and the New York Giants got a much-needed victory. We get to 6-1. We got the Seattle Seahawks on deck, but I hope you guys are living it up. I hope you guys are as excited as I am, because it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since we've had a team like this to cheer for. And teams like this don't come around ever so often. This is going to be a team that you look back in 10, 15 years when this team gets good, because we're going to be good. We're going to be good. We're going to be consistently good, because Brian Dable's a good head coach, and he's building this team the right way. But this is going to be a season you look back on with fond memories, when you said, well, going into the year, that team, man, I thought they were going to win 5 games. I thought they were going to win 5 games all year, 6 games all year. We had gone through the darkest of darkest times, for well over a decade. Since our last Super Bowl in 2012, that team came out, they shocked the world. That team came out, and they set the tone for where we are right now. This is the beginning of something beautiful. This is the beginning of something great. And I hope you guys feel it the same way I do. This team's for real. This coaching staff is for real. And these players are getting better week in and week out. I only see reason to be optimistic going forward. I only see reason to be optimistic going forward. I look at a team that's filled with young players, with great coaches, that should only get better as they get more accustomed to the playbook. I love it. I love it. Cressley, man, thank you very much, man. Great victory over the Jacksonville Zebras. Yeah. Yeah, the referees certainly didn't help us out today. But who cares? I mean, we got the win. That's all I care about. The referees certainly didn't help us out today. I'm sure Jacksonville had a couple of plays they could have complained about as well. We look at it from a New York Giants fan's lens, but I'll tell you what, on that last drive, they certainly didn't help us out at all. They had a lot of missed calls. There was 2 plays where I thought they should have been hit. The Jaguars, should have been hit for a late hit penalty. One specifically when Daniel Jones slid and he got popped in the face. They didn't throw a flag. I didn't understand it. Luckily, they did throw a flag when he threw the interception, but the referees certainly, they were very bad today. Very bad today in this football game. And I had never complained about the referees, ever. Maybe on an individual play during the game, sure, but after a game, I don't make note of it. Win, lose, or draw. They were really bad today. The referees were awful in today's football game. Jason, man, thank you very much, man. Take out Kyle and Lamar. DJ might be the most effective running Kyler, I think you meant to say. DJ might be the most effective running quarterback in the league. His ball manipulation is almost Romo-like. DJ is a weapon. Yeah, I mean, right? I don't have the stats in front of me, but right now I know he ran for 107 yards today. Let me pull up the stats real quick. But Daniel Jones on the year, I mean, let's take a quick look. He's got to have what? Approaching 400 yards through the air. I mean, I would think. Let me take a quick look. Let's see. Daniel Jones on the year coming into this game, he had 236. So now he's got over 340. He's got over 340 yards rushing on the year. He's got 3 touchdowns in 7 games. You're talking about a quarterback who's on pace to run for 800 yards. Like Dable is not scared to use his legs as a weapon. And you're going to only see them expand his game even further as the weeks go along. For everybody that talks about his stats and talks about how he can't carry the football team, watch the first half of the game today. The stats were there. He had 170 yards. Then the Jacksonville Jaguars changed their defense. So what does a smart quarterback do? What a smart quarterback does, what a smart head coach does, you adjust to what the defense gives you. So in the first half, the Jacksonville Jaguars came out and said, we're going to take away your run. We're going to force you to throw. Daniel Jones said, okay, I'll take what you give me. He took what they gave him. He threw for 170 yards on their ass in the first half. Then Jacksonville goes to make the adjustments. He says, okay, now you're letting me run the football. Okay, now I'm going to give the ball to Saquon. Now I'm going to take over with my legs. So it was a tale of 2 halves. But Daniel Jones certainly today proved that if he is asked to throw for 350, 400 yards, he could do it. And that's without weapons. That's with 6 drops today in crucial moments with practice squad wide receivers. I don't know what more you want. The guy's proving that he's a much improved quarterback this year. I mean, open your eyes. He's getting better and better each and every week. John, man, thank you very much. Let me just make sure I'm not skipping anybody. I don't think I am. John, man, thank you very much. He says, this Giants team and season story looks just like the New York Rangers last year. The Rangers overachieved last year with new coach, and Giants are too. Let's blank and go. Yeah, that's a good comparison because I know I'm not a big hockey guy, but I know going into the year, people weren't very high on the Rangers. The Islanders actually were the better team going in. They had gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think, the year before. New coach, and the Rangers surprised, right? And they shocked the world, and they were much better than anybody thought they would be. Yeah, I mean, you see, the NFL is beautiful when it comes to things like this because every year there's 2, 3 teams that nobody saw this coming from, and they surprise. Now the Giants are doing it on a different scale, like they're on another level in terms of surprising. But last year you had the Raiders. I don't think anybody thought they'd be a playoff team. They made the playoffs when the year started. You had the Eagles. I don't think anybody thought they'd be a playoff team last year when the year started. They made the playoffs. And you had the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think anybody at the beginning of the year would have said they're going to the Super Bowl. So that's the beauty of the NFL. It's a year-to-year league. There's a lot of roster turnover, and when you bring in a new head coach and he changes the culture and changes things from within the New York Giants locker room, things could change real fast. And this is a pattern at this point. This is not a fluke. This is not a fluke. This is a good football team. And for people that tell me we're catching breaks, yeah, we're catching breaks. But the difference is, this is my honest opinion. In years past, when this team was really bad, and they were really bad, they would probably catch the same amount of breaks. The difference was those teams, under Joe Judge, under Pat Shermer, when they caught those breaks, they wouldn't take advantage of it. You know, you think back to the fumble today. We caught a break where Xavier McKinney stripped the ball out on Travis Etienne on the 1-yard line. Like, that's a break. But the New York Giants took advantage of it. Previous years, when we would catch breaks, we wouldn't take advantage of it. Good teams take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them. This team is doing that. That's the makings of a good football team. We're getting better week over week. I love where this team is headed, man. But John, man, thank you very much. Juan Santiago says 11-6, believe it, and it will happen. What up, entertainer? Dude, at this point, I think your expectations need to be 11-6. I mean, right now, at least. I mean, right now, this team's 6-1. They'd have to go 5-5. Now, granted, the schedule is going to get tougher, right? We're gonna play in division, right? We're gonna play the Eagles twice. Washington had a win against Green Bay today. They now have 2 in a row. Maybe they're starting to get better. We play them twice. We got the Cowboys once. You got the Colts. You got the Vikings. So schedule's going to get tougher after these next 3 games. But I think it's very fair to think that this team could potentially win more than 11 games. I'm not going to set those expectations quite yet. I'm enjoying it week by week, 1 week at a time. Right now, I'm just thinking about Seattle, and I'm going to savor this victory. We found a way to get a win against the team, as Dave Gettleman continues to call me, as we got a win against the team that I thought going in, was better than their record dictated. I really do. I think this was a pretty good football team. I think this Jaguars team, was fairly comparable in terms of talent, maybe be more talented than the Tennessee Titans team we played week 1. I know the record doesn't say so, but this Jaguars team has a lot of talent. And the New York Giants fought back again when they were behind. The other thing in this game that really stood out, Dable talked about it in the press conferences leading up into the week. This Giants team, they came out prepared from the start of the game. Right? Offensively, not defensively, but offensively. They came out, they had a drive to start the game. They go down, they score a touchdown. Something that we've struggled with week to week this year. So that was great to see. We got out with a lead. Jacksonville didn't do the best of jobs in terms of play calling, but people had the same critique about the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers didn't do the best job in terms of play calling. They got away from the run. The run was working against the New York Giants. Same thing happened this week with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars had 146 yards on the ground. They only ran the ball 21 times. They threw the ball 42 times. But maybe the reason for that is the New York Giants are possessing the ball for as long as they are. They're getting out to a lead, so they're forcing Jacksonville to have to throw the football. It goes hand in hand. It's also the way that we're playing that's kind of forcing these teams into those situations. So far, so good with this Giants team, man. They're doing a great job. And even if you want to say that those teams made mistakes and they got away from the run, that just means we're a better team. That means we're a better coach football team. That's all. Brian Dable once again out-coached another good coach. Okay. Like, I could spin this any way I want. Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl winning head coach, Brian Dable out-coached him today. John Harbaugh, former Super Bowl winning head coach, Brian Dable out-coached him. Mike Vrabel, AFC Championship, goes to the playoffs every year. Brian Dable out-coached him. So, however you want to spin it, I could spin it in a positive way. Nelly, thank you very much. Tana, we're 6-1. The end of the game gave me 6 heart attacks, but we pulled out the W. Let's go, Big Blue. I mean, at this point, Nelly, I expect it. Every time I go, I live stream the Giants game, I have a doctor on standby. I got the defibrillator. I know I'm getting a heart attack. It happens every week. At this point, it's become custom. You know what's coming. So, hopefully this team let's just have a little bit easier victories in the future. But hey, I'll just take any win, any way I could get it at this point. It's been so long since the New York Giants, got off to a start like this, and I'm just going to savor it. I'm going to appreciate it, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the next test next week. So I'm so happy for you. I got to meet you when I went to the Giants-Eagles game. You were great. Last year, hopefully I get to see you. I'm going to the Texans game on November 13th. I already got my tickets, so if you're going to that, hopefully I see you there. If not, I'm sure I'll see you in the future, but you're always a great supporter, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy for everybody in this chat. But thank you so much, Nelly. Let's see what we got. I know I got a member chat. I'm going to get to that. I don't like missing those. Let me get to that before I get to Floyd, man. Floyd, what's going on, buddy? I got a lot of people in here. Thank you guys, man, for all the support you guys always show. I know there's a Sunday night game on, but you guys want to party. Shaw, man, thank you for being a member for 23 months. By the way, the Jets. I didn't get to see the end of that. I think the Jets won again. The Jets were up 7 with like 40 seconds left. As Dave Gettleman's calling me again. They were up 7 with 40 seconds left. So if the Jets won, the New York Jets are now 5-2, and the New York Giants are 6-1. What the hell is going on? Is there something in the water? Like, what is going on? Shaw, man, thank you for being a member for 23 months. Chris, we're 6-1. We're a wide receiver 1 and linebacker away, in my opinion. Let's go. Yeah, I think at this point, if there is a deal to be had, and it has to make sense because we don't have a lot of cap space, yada, yada, yada. But if there's a young wide receiver out there that the New York Giants feel can help this football team for a fair price, not talking about giving up a first-round pick, I think the New York Giants should explore it, especially after a game like today. I mean, 6 guys dropped the ball. I mean, come on. Like, we need to get our quarterback some help, and we're in a situation right now where we're 6-1. You're trying to evaluate your quarterback. You're trying to evaluate the future of this offense. If you could get a guy in here that you feel like could be a part of the future for the next 3, 4, 5 years, if it makes sense, go out and do it, Joe. We'll see. That doesn't mean an opportunity is going to be there, but if it is, I think the Giants need to explore it. As far as the linebacker goes, we've made do with what we've had, but yeah, we knew going into the year. Cornerback as well, but Moreau has stepped up. I'll say that right now. Fabian Moreau is a starting cornerback the way he's playing right now. Didn't see that coming. But I still think we could use some help in the cornerback in the future, but linebacker for sure. Coverage linebacker, right? This is now the 2nd straight week. And I'll tell you what, and I like Darnay Holmes. He seems like a really good guy, smart guy, and I'm not trying to rag on anybody. We're 6-1. Our slot defense is not very good. You saw it again this week with Christian Kirk. You saw, obviously, Evan Ingram tear apart our linebackers in coverage like you were alluding to. For the 2nd straight week, we were getting cooked by tight ends. That has to improve. I'm happy, very happy, but there's always things that you could talk about that the team needs to improve upon, and I would agree that linebacker, wide receiver, a couple other things as well, but one step at a time. Floyd, man, thank you very much, man. Man, I'm still trying to calm down all the bad calls and no calls. What a joke those refs were, but let us stand up. 6-1. Hey, man, refs didn't help us out today for the most part. And listen, I'm sure I could go back because I think I remember looking at it. I didn't mention it in the live stream, but I think I remember looking at it at halftime. I'm going to look at the stats right now. And the Jaguars, at least at halftime, were called for a lot more penalties than the New York Giants were. I think it was like 11-3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah, it ended up being 13 penalties for the Jaguars and only 8 called against the New York Giants. So I'm sure if we're being completely unbiased and looked at it from a Jaguars fan's perspective, there were probably calls in that game that you probably could have complained about if you were a Jaguars fan as well. But I'm going to agree with you for sure, especially on that last drive. I mean, my God, Kayvon Thibodeau was getting held on every play. Every play he was getting held. They didn't call it. The Dexter Lawrence late hit penalty was nonsense. So, yeah, I agree with you. Just the overall officiating in that game, probably on both sides, was awful. It was just a horribly officiated game. But, man, thank you very much, man. Have to give props to ownership. They have finally hired a great head coach and general manager combo and have stayed out of their way. Very important. The other thing I'm thinking about, I'm going to get to you in a second, Bob. I was just thinking about the penalty comment as well. The other thing I want to mention, and I don't think this is a coincidence, 3 times today, and this to me, little things like this are a sign of growth for me for a quarterback. Before I even get to this, the sack that Daniel Jones took. Daniel Jones a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that's a 9-yard loss, and it's potentially a fumble. In this game, he sensed the blindside pressure. He scooted up in the pocket. And instead of losing 9, he lost 1. That was a big play, right? That is just little signs of your quarterback getting better, evolving as a quarterback. There was another thing I was going to say, and I forgot off the top of my head. Yes. The other thing, if you noticed in the game, 3 times today, the Jacksonville Jaguars jumped offsides on defense. You don't think that has anything to do with Daniel Jones at the line of scrimmage with his hard count and things like little things like that are a lot our growth. And also his pre-snap adjustments, his audibles at the line of scrimmage. It was apparent today that Daniel Jones had his hands all over that offense. He looked really good today. I think things like that really stood out to me in today's game. Bob, it says you have to give props to ownership. They have finally hired a great head coach GM combo and have stayed out of their way. Very important. Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about that several times as fans going into the year. Not just this year, but since I've been on YouTube, me, several other people, fans that come into my chats, we've talked about how John Mara has had his fingerprints on this team way too much. A good owner, a great owner, should not dictate what the organization does in terms of the personnel decisions. Of course, he's going to have some say. He's the guy that pays the bills. But he's had way too much of a say. He's had way too much of an influence. He's gone outside of the organization. He went outside the organization. He let Joe Shane have free reign. He's done what he feels he needs to do to get this team going down the right path. He brought in his guy with Brian Dable. No fingerprints on that. Word came out that he forced Jason Garrett on Joe Judge. Not a good thing. I think a lot of us in the back of our head thought that he kind of forced Eli Manning on Dave Gettleman. We'll never know that. John Mara will never admit that. But it seems like he's staying out of the football decision-making, which is what an owner's supposed to do. So, yes, that is a big step in the right direction, no doubt about it. And, yeah, he deserves props for that. Jason Benjamin says, NFC is getting really interesting into November. Yeah, I mean, right now we're 6-1. The Eagles are 6-0, and the Cowboys are 5-2. And it's going to really heat up around Thanksgiving, right? Because that's when we play all the teams from within the division. You look at our schedule right now, and don't get me wrong, Seattle's not going to be a pushover. Seattle now, I think they won their 4th game today. They look good doing it. They beat the Chargers pretty handily. Looked impressive. We're playing in Seattle. Tough place to play. So by no means am I saying that's a cakewalk, that we're definitely winning that game. I went into this road trip. If you would have told me, Chris, at the beginning of the road trip, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, I'd be happy with 1-1. Give me 1-1. If we get 2-0, I'm through the moon. But I'd be content with 1-1. And then we come back home after the bye. We take care of business against Houston. We take care of business against the Lions. If we could ever beat Seattle in Seattle, which is a very doable game, by the way, we definitely can win. If we do win, I think we're starting 9-1. Because I think off the bye, there's no excuses not to beat Houston. And I'm going, so they better win. And then after that, you got the Detroit Lions. And you figure after the bye, we're going to be more well-rested. Hopefully you get guys like Kadarius Toney back. Azeez Ojulari, hopefully. I think he may be on the IR now, so he probably won't be back. But you figure we'll get some pieces back. These guys will get more well-rested. You'll have 2 weeks to prepare. So, and with good coaching, I think that does matter. So I think if we could ever beat Seattle, I am predicting us to start 9-1. And then after that, you see where it goes, right? Because then things start to heat up in the division with the Cowboys, Washington twice, and the Eagles twice. That'll decide who wins this division and who doesn't. But I'd like to at least get there with the opportunity to potentially win the NFC East. But it's 1 week at a time. Let's take it 1 week at a time. We're 6-1, and I'm enjoying it right now. Let's see. Raphael says Seahawks game will be tough. Geno Smith is balling. Yeah, no, I'm not taking Seattle for granted. Listen. A lot of people took the Giants lightly before the year started. By the way, I forgot I had coffee. Now it's cooling down, as it always does. Hold on 1 second. A lot of people took the Giants lightly before the year started. They've proved people wrong. A lot of people took Seattle lightly before the year started. They've proved people wrong. I didn't think they'd be 4-3. I thought they'd be 2-5 at this point in the year. Geno Smith's playing very well. From what I heard, DK Metcalf may have gotten hurt in that game. I don't know the severity of the injury. So obviously that could change things in terms of the way I feel about the Seattle Seahawks. But yeah, they're playing well. It's a tough place to play. Certainly not taking that game for granted. That is not a gimme game. I didn't think this was a gimme game. And it wasn't. It was a tough game. Could have easily lost it. But we found a way to win. But Raphael, man, thank you very much, buddy. Let's see. When I look at our schedule, there's no game on the only easy game that I see on our schedule, and I'm not taking them for granted either, but the only game I'm going to be really depressed and upset if we lose to the Houston game that's left on our schedule currently. I would favor us in a lot of the remaining games, but the Houston game is a game you absolutely should not lose to that football team. And probably the Lions game as well at home. I think that's a team we should beat too. But yeah, the other games, you got to respect these teams. Divisional games, you always got to respect those teams. So we take it 1 week at a time. MY Giants 26 need a wide receiver badly. They need to get Jones a 1. Yeah, unfortunately, odds are we're not going to get a 1 until next year. But maybe they can make a move at the deadline and at least add something. It's some help in that wide receiver room. We certainly could use it, but I don't think we're going to get a number one. I think you're going to get your number one or the guy you hope is your number one in this year's upcoming draft. That's probably what the plan is going to be. And yeah, that's where my head's at right now. I think next year we're either going to trade for a wide receiver or we're going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. That's probably what's going to happen. And I do think Dan Jones coming back as your quarterback. I don't even think it. I never want to say no because things can happen, but very strong possibility Dan Jones coming back as your quarterback in 2023, and he's earned it. He's played very well. Daniel says, "Do you think it's time for Nathaniel to be fired?" You're talking about the guy on the on the Broncos. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't watch Broncos games, but they're off to an horrific start. I mean, nobody saw that coming, and obviously Russell Wilson doesn't look very good. And I think he was a guy that they hired because they assumed they were going to get Aaron Rodgers because of his ties to Rodgers. Again, it's hard for me to say because I think a lot of people look at it from the lens that Russell Wilson is the same Russell Wilson. He may not be the same Russell Wilson. I don't know. I don't watch every Broncos game. All I can tell you is I've watched the Broncos on primetime. Russell Wilson does not look very impressive to me. But some of that certainly falls on the head coach. He's also made some questionable decisions where, the first game, I mean, I think we all remember that decision where it was 4th and 5, right? And he elected to try to kick like a 70-yard field goal. Not a good choice there at the end of the game when he had Russell Wilson as his quarterback. So it's hard for me to say, but yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to last more than a year the way things are going right now in Denver with the raised expectations they had going into the year. Bill, man, thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity. Always in the streams, always showing support, man. Thank you so much. Says, I hope Vegas keeps hating on us. I've made a ton betting on the G-Men this year. Bill, I said it on Twitter, man. I said it on Twitter right before I went live. I said the same exact thing. Not that I'm betting on the Giants, but I never bet on my teams for or against. I just want to enjoy the game. So that's just my personal preference. But as far as that goes, I said the same exact thing on Twitter. I said, I hope that I did it one game this year. Actually, I did. It was like $20 though. I bet the Giants and the under against the Bears, and it hit. I hit a parlay. I would have bet the Giants this week though if I was going to bet the game. But I said the same exact thing though, Bill. I hope they keep putting us as the underdog because every game we're the underdog and we're supposed to lose, we win. We've won every one of them, I think, that we've been the underdog outside of no, I think we've won. Yeah, every game. Because the game against Dallas, I think we were actually favored, if I'm not mistaken. And that's our only loss. And we've been the underdogs in every other game except for Chicago. So we've won 5 games in which we were the underdog, I believe. So let them keep doing it, man. I like being disrespected. I like being doubted. I think Giants fans embrace that. It's bulletin board material. Hopefully it's something that Brian Daboll keeps these guys. Listen, you still got to prove people wrong. People are still doubting you. Keep showing it to them. And hopefully that keeps the football team going out there, motivated to continue to play better football. So I'm all about it, man. Let them keep hating on us. Let them, Bill. And thank you very much, man. I'm glad you won. And Philip says, traveling from Denmark to Dallas in November to see my first Giants game. Oh, you're going to Dallas. That's going to be a cool experience because I've never been there. If I do go to a road game in the future, that's probably where I'd want to go because their new stadium looks ridiculous. Jerry's World. I feel like you could spend like a whole weekend there, taking that in. So you should have a really good time. Obviously, we hate Dallas, but it's a cool looking stadium. To see my first Giants game ever, I'm so excited. Any advice or any tips for my first game? Listen, I've never been to Dallas, so I don't really have any tips about the surrounding area or the stadium or anything else. I wish I had something for you. I don't. The only thing I'll tell you is, maybe try to organize a tailgate with people. I'm sure license plate guys going to be going there, and I'm sure there'll be some out of town Giants fans going there. That's definitely part of the experience of going to a football game is the tailgate before the game. That's as much fun as anything else, right? So that would be my one line of advice, for somebody that's not from the country. That's a huge thing when you go to football games here. So yeah, if you could try to organize something like that with a bunch of Giants fans that may be traveling to go to the game, I'd recommend that. But from what I've heard, like there's like a lot of tours you could take of the stadium. It's massive. I mean, my God, the practice facilities is as nice as some stadiums. So definitely give yourself a couple of days to enjoy the facility, enjoy Dallas, and have a good time, man. And hopefully the New York Giants get a win. Should be a lot of fun, man, on Thanksgiving. I'm really looking forward to that game. And I do think we'll do better this time around. And Jabari says, yo, Chris, if we're offered a Christian McCaffrey-like package for Barkley, would you trade or keep? No, I'm not. At this point, I'm not trading Saquon Barkley. We're 6-1. We're 6-1. I'm not trading Saquon Barkley. We're 6-1. I understand that fans are thinking about the future and this and that. Like, what does that tell I think as fans, sometimes we have to think about it not just from the mindset of like 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. Brian Dable is trying to instill a winning culture. Brian Dable is trying to instill a winning locker room, a winning tradition with the New York Giants. If you trade Saquon Barkley for draft picks, what does that say to Leonard Williams? What does that say to Daniel Jones? What does that say to all the players in that locker room when this team is 6-1? This team is going out there each and every week. You got players playing with hurt legs, going out there, finding a way to compete each and every Sunday. With all these injuries, they're going out there giving it all they got. They're putting all their blood, sweat, and tears out there, and they're delivering in a big way. Right now, the New York Giants have the second best record in the National Football League. They are 6-1. If you go and trade Saquon Barkley midseason, what does that say to all the players in that locker room? That's not happening. They're not trading Saquon Barkley. I understand the thought process that some fans may have in terms of the future. I don't want to pay a running back, yada, yada, yada. They're not trading Saquon Barkley. This team is 6-1. If this team is going to make a trade, it's going to be to acquire somebody. It's not going to be to get rid of somebody. We're 6-1. We got the second best record in football. So, no, I don't think we're trading Saquon Barkley. It's not happening. Not in season. That's for damn sure. We're 6-1. Barry, man, thank you very much. Any trades to help us? Wide receiver Seahawks looks good. Let's go Giants. Yeah, I mean, listen, if we're going to make a trade, I think that's the type of trade we're going to make. I don't know which wide receivers we're going to be able to bring in because of the cap situation. We don't have much money to spend. So I don't know. I can't give you an exact name, but if the Giants are going to look to acquire somebody, it's got to be the wide receiver position. And at this point, it could be not that you're going to get anybody great, but it could be, depending on how long Evan Neal's out. I don't know the severity of the injury or not. It could be for a swing tackle. They may look to bring in a cheap swing tackle on for like a 5th or 6th round pick because you need it right now, right? With Evan Neal, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but we'll see. But there's little things I think they could do. I don't think they're going to give up significant draft capital. They're not going to impact next year's draft in terms of giving up like a third, a second, probably even a 2nd round pick. But could I see them making some small moves? Yeah, I can. For wide receiver, I think it's got to be a young guy that's under a cost-effective salary. I don't think they're trading for DK Metcalf. Maybe next year before the season starts, but not in season this year. I don't think they're trading for, some of the bigger names that you've heard. But if they could bring in a guy that has a lot of upside, that's young and maybe isn't necessarily in the right situation that they think could fit their offense, yeah, I could see them doing something like that. But we'll see. I mean, I think the right deal has to present itself and be available, but I don't think the Giants are going to be sellers. That's for damn sure. Not at 6-1. Jason, man, thank you very much, man. We may be 8-2 going into our bye week. Great times. We might be 9-1. Why are we going to stop at 8-2? Why can't we be 9-1? I'm not telling you we're going to be, but we could be. Seattle, Detroit, Houston. Why can't we win those games? We might be 9-1. I had us 8-2 after the start we had. When people asked me over the next 4 games, I had 3-1. I had us 8-2, not before they started. I think before the year started, I had us 5-5 after 10 because I had us 2-4 and then 3-1 in the next 4. I had us 3-1 in this 4-game sample size after the 5-1 start. So we're off to a 1-0 start. But who's to say we can't win all those games? We could. I mean, we've beaten better teams so far this year than any of those 3 teams. So why not? Peter, man, thank you very much. Big takeaways. DJ is very good. Saquon will have 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Praying Neal and Bellinger don't miss much time. Seattle looks good. Yeah, I'm worried about the Neal and Bellinger injury. I'm sure we'll get more details tomorrow. Hopefully the Bellinger thing isn't anything too serious. He got poked in the eye, but he was bleeding, and you worry about, could that be something that is, could keep him out for a long time? I'm sure we'll hear about it and the severity of it and everything else, but obviously you got to be able to see. So I don't know. I didn't hear anything about the details of that and so on and so forth. As far as Neal goes, yeah, same thing. Didn't look good. I think rumors were it was an MCL, but they don't know. I don't know if it's been confirmed. If it's not a tear, they're not going to confirm that it is a tear quite yet. Could be a sprain. I don't know. Regardless, I think he's going to miss some time. He's probably going to miss at least 4 weeks, even if it's just a sprain. He's going to miss some time. So we're going to have to make do with what we got, or maybe look to bring in a veteran from another team, to try to man the fort for 4 or 5 weeks if he's going to be back after that. But that sucks, right? Because they're both young players, both rookies that are getting better each and every week. But you know what? It's football. It's going to happen. It happens to every team in the league. There's injuries all over the league. It happens. So New York Giants are going to have to overcome it like they've been doing it this year. And that's what good coaching does. As far as Seattle, yeah, they look good. They look better than I thought they would this year. That's for damn sure. I'm kind of happy that they're coming off a win though, rather than a loss. I always, just as a fan, I always like that when the team I'm going up. I would rather get Seattle coming off a win, playing in Seattle, than them losing, because then they look at that next game. All right, we can't drop 2 in a row. We're at home. You got to win this game. And maybe that's just a mental thing, coming out of me. But that's just me. That's just my preference. I'm actually happy Seattle won this week rather than lost. But it's gonna be a tough game. I'm not going into that game, saying, "Oh, we're definitely gonna kick their ass." No, I respect Seattle just like I respect the Jacksonville this week. So it's gonna be a tough game. Giants will have to come out on top though, and hopefully they can. But Pete, man, thank you very much. As far as your points about DJ and Saquon has proven exactly what I knew and thought he always was. He's one of the best playmakers in the entire NFL. Running back, wide receiver, tight end, whatever position you want to call it. He's one of the most explosive, best players in the NFL. And I always knew that. I think most of us in this chat always knew that. It was just a matter of him staying healthy and staying on the field. And now you add an offense like this one that can get the most out of his abilities. He's only going to get better. So he's been great, continues to be great. The out of bounds thing pissed me off 3 times. It was 1 time, whatever. 3 times on the same drive. But that's tough love. I love Saquon. So hopefully he bounces back, and hopefully he learns from that and just continues to grow. As far as Jones goes, Jones just gets better every week. Think about it. Every week this year he has gotten better. And I don't think he's hit his peak yet. I think he's going to continue to get better. But every week he's gotten better. He seems much more confident in the offense. He had complete control of that game today for the most part. He was great. Dan Jones was great today. He was great last week. He was really good the week before that. Yeah, he just gets better every week, and you got to be happy. Sticky Fingers says, we being kind of hard on our defense today. Yards are for Madden. They held him to 17 with 2,000 with 2,000 blah, 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 blah flags. 6 points in the second half. I'm happy with it. Hey, man, they did their job when they needed to. You know what I'm saying? It should have been 24, if we're being honest. Should have been a touchdown. But the defense did their job when they needed to. They came up with 2 key stops. Did I feel throughout the majority of that game that they couldn't get off the field? Yes. If we're being honest with ourselves, Travis Etienne was having his way. Trevor Lawrence was having his way. They had several 3rd and 15, 2nd and 15s, and they were picking them up. And we didn't get much pressure on Lawrence until the final couple of drives of that game for the most part. But listen, the defense was rested because we won the time of possession by 8 minutes. And at the end of the game, I think it paid off. Even though they were still able to drive down the field because of the penalty by Dexter Lawrence, we were getting pressure. Kayvon Thibodeau was getting home. We came up with the huge 4th and inches stop, and we got a 3 and out. After the offense wasn't able to punch it in, we went for it on 4th and 2. The defense came up with a big 3 and out, gave us good field position. So, yes, there were some good aspects about the defense in this game. I still think it was probably our weakest performance overall, personally. Maybe you could argue Dallas. But we also didn't have good complementary football in Dallas because the offense wasn't controlling the clock. They weren't sustaining drives because we couldn't block and we couldn't run the football. So it's close for me. It's either this game or Dallas. But regardless, yeah, like you said, we only gave up 17 points. We got a couple of bounces, sure, but the defense did their job when they needed to. And hopefully they grow and they build off of this. I thought this would be a tough matchup for the defense. I really did, and I think it was. But listen, the team found a way to get a win. Let's see what we got. Watch Medicine. Giants Hawks game, best game, week 8 slot. Who knew? Is it? Let me take a quick look. I mean, it's got to be up there. I mean, both teams are playing really well. And don't be surprised if later in the year, I don't know when the flexes come into effect. But I think we'll probably get flexed later in the year. Let me take a quick look. We got Ravens-Bucks Thursday night. Before the year started, you would have looked at that game, you would have been like, yeah, we finally got a good Thursday night game. But the Thursday night curse continues because that's not that good of a game. The Bucks have looked bad. The Ravens have looked okay, pretty good, but not as good as I thought they would be. So that's not a great game. Giants-Seahawks looks like a good game right now. Like you said, you got Broncos-Jaguars, not a good game. Panthers-Falcons, not a good game. Bears-Cowboys, Dolphins-Lions, Cardinals-Vikings, Raiders-Saints, Patriots-Jets, Steelers-Eagles, Titans-Texans. Oh, my God. Some of these games are horrible. Washington-Colts, Niners-Rams. You would have thought that'd be a great game going into the year. But, again, neither one of those teams looks very good right now either. And the same thing with the Packers and Bills. You would have thought the same thing. But, again, the Packers don't look very good right now. So, yeah, the Giants-Seahawks might be the best game next week. That's crazy. But it's the truth. It's crazy. Mike Nixon says, oh my God, I love this team, Tana. We got to fight for Dave's. Let's go. Let's go, man. Dable's got this team fighting each and every week, Mike, man. I hope you're as excited as me and everybody else in the chat. Laidback says, can the Giants be 9-1 after facing the Cowboys? Before facing the Cowboys, rather. Yes, I just said it. Yes. And I know I'm behind on the Super Chats, but yes. I'm going to say 8-2 still. I'm going to lean on the more conservative side of my brain. But yeah, we absolutely could start 9-1. Ask yourself this, Laidback. Would you be surprised if we win next week? And if you say no, well, then how could you be surprised if we would beat Houston or the Lions, both at home? So, yeah, we absolutely could start 9-1. There's no reason to think that's impossible. Just got to keep doing what we've been doing. Got to stick to our identity. Got to win the time of possession. Got to be able to control the clock. Daniel Jones needs to keep coming up big in the big moments. Daniel Jones has 5 game-winning drives. I can't say it enough. It's incredible. And listen, I'm not comparing it to Eli's 2011 season. No, I'm not doing that quite yet, okay? Eli's 2011 season was magical. He was incredible that year. I think he only had 6 or 7 game-winning drives, though. But that's, that stats can be misleading. But Daniel Jones has been great in terms of situational football. And hopefully he only gets better. Hopefully he only continues to build upon this. He's been great. Demir Williams, man, thank you very much. Give Daniel Jones a wide receiver now. 7 drops, unacceptable. Yeah, it's pathetic. The wide receiving core is not good. And it's not their fault. They're not supposed to be out there. David Sills should not be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. Okay? So we need more talent there. And it's amazing that Daniel Jones has been able to do what he's been able to do with what he's got, what he's provided. Everybody looks at like all these quarterbacks in college. You think they're going to come here throwing to David Sills and they're going to be successful? Hell, half of them probably have better wide receivers on their college teams than the receivers that the New York Giants have right now. I mean, it's bad. We need big improvements there, man. And I think we'll get him. We may have to wait a year, but I think we're going to get him. Tiana, thank you very much, man. If Dable isn't the coach of the year, who is? The only other person that you could consider, and it's Dable, by the way. It's Dable. But the only other person that you could consider is the guy in the Jets. Why does the name escape me right now? But the guy, the former defensive coordinator from the 49ers, somebody's going to say it in the chat. I'm going to look at the chat right now because you guys are going to say the name. But the guy in the Jets, that's the only guy that you could realistically, Robert Saleh. There you go. That's the only other guy that's even in contention as far as I'm concerned. The Jets are 5-2. Nobody saw that coming. That's just as unpredictable as the Giants. So I'd have Saleh at 2. I'd have Dable at 1. I think that's crazy. But I think those are the 2 best coaches right now in terms of coach of the year. Sirianni's in there too. But to be fair, I think most people thought the Eagles, with the schedule that they had going into the year, would win. I mean, when you look at the Eagles' schedule before the year started, be honest with yourself. Would you have been – I would have been surprised if they weren't at least 5-2. Or 5-1, I should say. They're 6-0. I mean, their schedule looked really easy. They looked impressive. They had a very active offseason. So I actually think what Dable's doing is more impressive. I think what Saleh's doing is more impressive. But yeah, Sirianni deserves content. I mean, they're 6-0. So yeah, he needs to have his name thrown in the hat. What's up, Rudy, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. And the Giants fan, man, thank you very much, man, for the $10 donation. Is Daniel Jones is the franchise quarterback. Trade for a wide receiver like DJ Moore, and it'll show. Hey, man, listen, I am definitely committed to saying Daniel Jones is my 2023 quarterback. I don't think anything's going to change my mind on that outside of an injury. But if he finishes the year and continues to play the way he's been playing, nothing's going to change my mind on that. I am definitely completely for pushing forward with Daniel Jones after this year. Definitely. And I definitely think he's got a lot more room for growth. So, yeah, it's very possible he could be a franchise quarterback. Not telling you he is, because I am very strict with my franchise quarterbacks. But we'll see. We'll see another year with Dable. He should only be much better next year, second year in the same offense. You add him at wide receiver, like you just said, that's going to help him. This offensive line should get better. So he, to me, has definitely earned another year as of now, for sure. He has definitely earned another year, and I think it's going to happen. I see a lot of people compare it to, because I guess it's impossible not to, because the Buffalo Bills, that's where Shane came from. I've seen people compare it to Mitch Trubisky, which is completely misleading, by the way. The Chicago Bears did make the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky, correct, in his last year there. But Mitch Trubisky and the Chicago Bears went 8-8, and Mitch Trubisky missed half the games. Okay, he was benched for Nick Foles from within that season, and then came back as a starter. So that's a horrible comparison. And then the other comparison that I hear is the Buffalo Bills with Tyrod Taylor. They went 9-7. They made the playoffs. Again, completely different situation. Tyrod Taylor at that point in his career was not a guy that was viewed as even a moderate possibility to be a franchise quarterback. He was a guy that was a journeyman quarterback. And he was a guy in a team that went 9-7 that snuck into the playoffs. Right now, the New York Giants are 6-1. And they didn't win games because of Tyrod Taylor. They won games because of the defense. And I'm not saying that the defense isn't helping Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones got 5 game-winning drives. I think it's a horrible comparison when people compare those two and they say because the Buffalo Bills drafted a quarterback when they made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor, this team's going to trade up and draft a quarterback. No. If Daniel Jones continues to play at the level he's playing, we're not doing that. The Giants have a lot of holes on this team. They're going to look to fill those holes, and they're not going to look to give away all this draft capital to go up and get a quarterback when they got one that's winning them football games. And he's a big reason why. So no, Daniel Jones is coming back. I definitely am on board with you on that. Daniel Jones is coming back in 2023. Nate, Matt, thank you very much. Love Moreau out of the draft. So glad we got him. Listen, Giants found a diamond in the rough there. Giants found a diamond in the rough with Moreau. I'm very happy that the New York Giants added him. And he's been a big piece. You know, going into the year, I said that Aaron Robinson to me was one of the wild cards for this team, one of the most important players if this team was going to be successful, because I worried about the cornerback depth. I worried about him. I thought he was a complete wild card. But Moreau has completely erased that worry for me. He stepped in and he has done the job, and he's done the job very well. And it's not a fluke at this point. Now, granted, he'll get a bigger test as the weeks go along, especially when we play a team like the Eagles. They got 2 very talented wide receivers. We haven't gone up against the greatest of wide receivers. So we'll see. But he's done a lot more than you could have ever expected him to do. He's been great. Jason says, defense wasn't dominated by any means, but we had big stops. That 4th down quarterback sneak, that fumble by Etienne, by McKinney, the sack by... Yeah, situational football. The defense didn't have their best performance. For them, I thought it was a little bit disappointing of a performance overall, just based off the way they've been playing this year. But they made plays when they needed to. It was a team win. The offense helped the defense today, but it was a team win. The defense still at times helped the offense. That's what good teams do. So I'm happy. Jackson says, Tana, Vegas might bet against us every game. Let them. I mean, based off the way that Seattle played today, they're probably going to be favored. I mean, they beat the Chargers 30-16. It's in Seattle. If we were getting 3 points against Jacksonville, we're probably going to be getting 3 points against Seattle. Seattle looked impressive today. Let them make Seattle a 2 or 3 point favorite. I welcome it. I'm all about it. I like being the underdog. I think Giants fans like it as well. It's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let them continue to doubt this football team. I'm all about it, Jackson. All about it. And thank you so much, man. Let me just make sure I pull this up right. Corvius85, stand up. New member. Thank you very much. Amazing Guy says, I want 7-1 next week. Don't we all? Blake Dwyer says, at this point, Shane has to make a deal before the deadline, right? Doesn't have to, no. I think at this point, to the point that somebody said about Saquon Barkley, he cannot trade away players like that at this point. But it doesn't necessarily mean he has to be a buyer. It all depends. It depends on the market. It depends what he feels he can afford to do. Listen, Joe Shane has shown this year in his first year that he is going to be disciplined in terms of managing the cap, in terms of managing future assets. He's thinking long-term. He's not just thinking about this year, which is a good approach. Very good approach, right? He's trying to build sustained success. So if the right deal is there that makes sense with our current financial situation, and he feels like it could really help this team this year and could help the team in the future, I'm sure he'll entertain it. But I don't think he's going to just make a trade to make a trade. It has to make sense, which is what a good GM does. You don't just force a trade. We forced a free agency signing with Golladay. How did that work out? So we'll see. But I don't think he's just going to make a trade to make a trade. We're not going to be sellers, though. I'll tell you that right now. We're not going to be sellers. Mr. Schmidt, man, thank you very much, man. Vegas had zebras, but we had Lieutenant Dan's magic legs. He was running. I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Forrest Gump, of course, you're referencing. One of my favorite movies of all time. But, yeah, Daniel Jones was he certainly had the magic legs today. That touchdown drive, he literally was the entire offense with his legs. I don't think he completed a pass. All right, I'm gonna pull that up play for play. I don't think he completed a pass on that drive. I think it was all his legs. Maybe one pass, 2 passes. I'm going to go play for play on that drive. He was run in on that drive. I can't do the Forrest Gump accent, but I tried my best. Can't get mad at me. play-by-play. Let's take a quick look. I think that was the touchdown drive, right, where he was running all over the field. Let's see. 10 plays, 79 yards, 5 minutes, 54 seconds. Here it is. First play, Daniel Jones scrambles up the middle for 1 yard, tackled by Hamilton. Second play, Saquon Barkley, left end for 8 yards. Third play, 3rd and 1, Matt Breida, right end for 6 yards. Next play, Daniel Jones, pass incomplete, short right to Darius Slayton. Next play, Daniel Jones scrambles right end, 24 yards. So far, 1 incomplete pass, 4 runs, 2 of them which were Jones. Next play, Daniel Jones up the middle, 9 yards. 3 Daniel Jones runs, which have amounted for 24, 9, and 1. So far on this drive, 34 rushing yards. Next play, Saquon Barkley, -1 yards, timeout Jacksonville. Next play, Saquon Barkley, 3 yards. Next play, Saquon Barkley, and that was the Saquon Barkley's run of the day, where he skated away from the defender twice, 18 yards to the Jacksonville 11. Next play, Daniel Jones pass incomplete, penalty on Jacksonville. That was the pass interference, where he was looking for Slayton in the left corner of the end zone, and then we punched it in, right, with the QB sneak. So Daniel Jones on that play, we didn't complete one pass on that drive. It was all Daniel Jones' legs, Saquon Barkley's legs. Mainly Jones. Jones rushed for the touchdown and about 40, 45 yards on that drive. So, yeah, Daniel was certainly running, specifically on that drive. He took what the defense gave him, man, and he did a great job. Silly Parody, wouldn't mind being number 5 and playing NFC South winner. Talking about seeding. By the way, just threw a flag on us. Jack's getting one more play at the 1. Yeah, I think that right now, I mean, if you look at, I don't have the standings in front of me, but I'd have to think we are, us or the Cowboys are trending towards being the number 5 seed. And yeah, if we're the 5 seed, you're not going to get the Vikings because you got to figure they're going to be a top 3 seed. You're not going to get the Eagles. You're either going to get the NFC West winner, which would be the Niners or the Rams, perhaps, or you're going to get the NFC South winner, which would probably be the Bucs. Who knows, though? I mean, they look bad, but that's probably what we're looking at in the first round. When we make the playoffs, we're probably looking at the NFC South winner or the NFC West winner. That's probably what we're looking at if we don't win the division. Hopefully we win the division. Jason Benjamin says, I don't think we trade for a wide receiver 1. I think Dable and Kafka want to see what Tony brings to the offense. Tony is tailor-made for this offense. Patience. I don't think we do it now. I could see us doing it in the offseason if there was a receiver they really loved that became available via trade. But yes, in season this year, I don't think we're going to trade for like an established number 1 wide receiver. I don't think that's going to happen because of the budget and everything else. Once you get rid of Golladay, maybe things change, right? When you have some cap space next year, maybe some things change. But right now, I agree with you. I don't think we may trade for a receiver, but it's not going to be like a number 1. I agree with you on that. I'm not expecting it. SB, he says, BS, roughing calls. You should be able to challenge him. You should be able to. But every time they try to make changes with penalties, and you know, we all remember with the pass interference penalties, like we were all super excited when the league allowed teams to challenge that, or, you know, non-calls or cold pass interferences. Obviously, it was led on by the NFC. I think it was the NFC title game with the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. But they never called it. When coaches would challenge for it, they would never call it. So sure, if I felt like they would change the calls, yeah, I think you should be able to challenge for roughing the quarterback penalties. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of times when they make those changes, it doesn't amount to anything. Like they had the pass interference rule and then they got rid of it. Because anytime teams challenged that when there was clear pass interference, they didn't overturn it. Fabian, man, thank you very much. Why do we keep saying if I played great? We're legit at this point. We're a 6-1 football team. We're legit. What your definition of legit and someone else's might be different, but we're certainly a playoff team. We're legit. You can't be 6-1 and not be legit. I'm sorry. Now, we may not be a Super Bowl team, if that's your definition of legit, but we're certainly a playoff team. And we're a pretty impressive football team. We have some impressive wins. So, yeah, we're legit. Let's see what we got. Jason Benjamin says, went to Dallas last year when we played Dallas. Cowboy Stadium is a dope stadium. Tana, you got to go. Tailgating to even the seats, that mega screen. Yeah, listen, if I go to a road game in the future, that's where I want to go. I mean, obviously, it's more economical to go to Philadelphia because I could drive there. But I want to make a trip to Dallas. I want to see that stadium. I'm kind of waiting until the Giants get good because it kind of sucks. Like, if you're going to plan this whole trip to travel and spend all this money to go to a game on the road, make a vacation out of it, and you go to see a team that's going to win 4 or 5 games. It's not worth it. So that's why I haven't done it yet on the channel. I'm kind of waiting until the Giants are good. So next year, I'll probably do it. I'll probably go to a road game. I'm not going to go to all of them like license plate guy, and if I'm going to go to a road game, that'll probably be the one I go to. That Giants fan says, you missed my $10 super chat. No, I didn't. I'm just behind, man. I'm sorry. Anybody that's donating, I'm behind. Like right now, I pulled this up. This is 7:51. It's 8:15. So I'm like 25 minutes behind because I'm catching up with the chat. So I didn't miss it. I'm sorry. I hope you're still here. I didn't miss it. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. Anyway, Daniel Jones is the franchise quarterback. Give him a true number 1, and it will show even more than already. Yeah, you said thank you, man. You didn't have to do that again. But yeah, I mean, listen. Right now, he's the guy, and he's going to be the guy in 2023. And yeah, he is. Listen, I'm not going to say he's reached Pat Mahomes level, Josh Allen level, but he's certainly entering. Is it crazy? And I know like stat heads, like people that just look at box scores because you get a lot of those people and they don't take into account the scheme and the coaching and the situation these quarterbacks were put in. But is it crazy to think that Daniel Jones could be in Dak's class? I don't think it is. I never thought Dak was incredible, but I don't think it is. Daniel Jones finally has a situation to support him, and he doesn't even have the situation yet, by the way. He doesn't even have the wide receivers yet. He doesn't. Dak had CeeDee Lamb. Dak had Amari Cooper. Dak had all these wide receivers. He had this great offensive line. So is it crazy? People just look at the stats. People just say, oh, well, Dak threw for 4,900 yards. Okay. Because they threw the ball all over the field. Because they had a great offensive line. Because they had all these weapons. We don't have weapons. I don't think it's crazy. I think he's in that class. I'm not saying he's better than Dak yet, but I think he's in that class. I do. I think he's in that class. If you just look like at stats, you're going to say no, but I don't just look at stats. Let's see what we got. I never thought Dak was great, though. I've been on the record saying I don't think Dak's a franchise quarterback. I've been on record saying I don't think the Dallas Cowboys should have paid Dak. Let's see. But, yeah, I think he's approached that tier of quarterback. He may not put up the stats because he's not in a situation to put up stats. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody because I'm so far behind. Sorry, guys. That was 7:51, so this should be – yeah, okay, we're good here. Ryan Cannon says, just went to my first Giants game today, and we absolutely took over the stadium. We caused 2 full starts towards the end of the game. Yeah, I saw that on TV, Ryan, and they showed the Giants fans making a lot of noise at the stadium. And I had a feeling, Ryan, that it was going to be heavily influenced by New York fans because we get a lot of New York transplants down in Florida. You know, Jacksonville's not known to have the biggest fan base in the world. They do have passionate fans from what I've seen on YouTube, but they're not known to have the most, the largest fan base in the world. So I had a feeling New York fans were going to show up for that game, and I'm glad that you guys did. And yeah, hopefully you guys did influence a couple of plays from within the game. John, man, thank you very much. 6-1 feels good. I've done a 180 on DJ. Read my lips. We are not trading 26. Is this fun or what, Dana? Oh, we ain't trading 26. And, dude, this is as fun as it gets. Nobody saw this coming. This is probably the most unexpected year. Somebody asked me to compare this to another Giants team, and it's impossible to compare. And I'm not saying that I expect the same results as the 2000 team. But the 2000 team was better. The 2000 team had more talent. But the 2000 team was completely unexpected. But this is even a bigger surprise. But nobody thought the 2000 team with Kerry Collins, really his first year there being the starting quarterback, was going to go to the Super Bowl and get the number 1 seed in the NFC. So to me, that was one of my most enjoyable seasons ever as a Giants fan because they were pretty dominant start to finish. You went into the year not expecting a whole lot. You were hoping for maybe 8 or 9 wins going into the year. They surprised. They went to the playoffs. They got the 1 seed. They went to the Super Bowl. This season has those vibes in the sense that it's very surprising. I didn't think we'd be 6-1, much like I didn't think that team would go 12-4. I thought that team would go like 8-8. And they ended up going 12-4. It's been fun, man. Never saw this coming. And we're just going to ride with it. We're going to ride the wave, John, and hopefully, we continue to surprise the league and continue to rack up wins, man. It's the beauty of the NFL. Things change so quick year to year, and hopefully the New York Giants can keep this up, man. But happy for you, man. Always a great supporter in the channel. Thank you for tuning in all the way. I think you're in Tennessee. Jarrett Brown says, what about OBJ? What about him? I suppose it's possible, right? I mean, He's kind of at least hinted at Twitter that he wouldn't mind coming back to the New York Giants. It's about the money. I think it comes down to money for him, right? I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, and we'll see when he's available. I don't know when he's coming back. I think I've heard like November, mid to late November. If there's teams that could afford to pay him more money, he's probably going to go there if they're willing to pay it. So we'll see. I mean, hey, you never know. That'd be a hell of a story, wouldn't it? That'd be a hell of a story. You never know. I just don't want to get people's hopes up. Jason, man, thank you very much. Let's talk about our O-line. Held them to 1 sack. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I did briefly mention them earlier in the stream, but the offensive line is getting better every week. I mean, listen, if I look, I think Daniel Jones, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I think led the league in sacks in terms of, or if he didn't lead the league, he was amongst the league leaders. Justin Fields might have led the league, but he was amongst the league leaders. I bet you if I go back week over week for the Giants, this week, like you said, we surrendered 1 sack. The Ravens game, we surrendered 4 sacks. So more than I thought. The Packers game, we surrendered 1 sack. So we've only surrendered 6 sacks in our last 3 games. 4 in one of them. The Bears game, 1 sack. So 7. But then his first 3 weeks. So 7 weeks in the last, 4 weeks combined. The Dallas game, he was sacked 5 times and he was pressured 25. Okay? That almost matches the last 4 weeks combined. I think it was 7 over the last 4 weeks combined, 4 in one game. He had 5 just in that Dallas game. In the Panthers game, he was sacked 3 times. So that's 8. And in the Titans game, he was sacked 5 times. So he was sacked 13 times in the first 3 games. And he's only been sacked 7 times in the last 4. So, yeah, the offensive line is getting better. He's getting better, too, in terms of his pre-snap reads and setting up the offense, getting the ball out quicker, so on and so forth. But the offensive line is certainly getting better, and it's been obvious. I mean, it's been obvious. Like, today he had a pretty clean pocket. I mean, there were times where he got pressure, but he did a good job feeling the pressure, stepping up in the pocket, stepping up in the clean area, buying himself some time. The other thing today, when you really look at the game, and I'll definitely watch it back with a lot of the film breakdown, so on and so forth, that so many people do on Twitter, to my knowledge, and let me know in the chat if I'm right. I think I'm right on this. I don't think there was many plays at all where they called for rollouts for Daniel Jones. Like a lot of games that you've seen in this year, to avoid pressure, the New York Giants would call a lot of rollouts, play action rollouts, so he could buy time because they knew that they weren't going to be able to block. Today, for the most part, it looked like he was standing in the pocket. Like the New York Giants were providing him time in the pocket. He was able to step up. He had a clean pocket. So, yeah, they didn't mask the offensive line this week. The offensive line just did the job. So, yeah, kudos to them, man. They did a good job, man. They deserve it. What's up, MY Finest, man? Thanks for popping in. Elijah Moore, please. Hey, man, I'd be completely open to that. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'd be completely open to that, Kobe. We need talent. We need he's a young wide receiver. I'd be open to it, but don't bank on it. Bobby B says a 6-1 team in week 7 of 17 games. Season has a 91% chance at the playoffs. And that, by the way, Bobby, those percentages are misleading because those percentages are based off the old playoff format for the most part. The 7 teams making the playoffs has only been in effect since last year. So it's probably even higher than 91%. It's probably, and I understand there's another week, but as the year progresses, by the time you're in week 7, the extra week's not going to have too much of an impact in terms of percentage chance to make the playoffs or not. I think it's probably more like 93, 94% because there's an extra team that makes the playoffs now. And the majority of that data was over when only 6 teams made the playoffs. So we're making the playoffs. I mean, I'd be shocked if we don't make the playoffs. Giants are making the playoffs. And you look around the NFC right now, I mean, look at the records. Look at the records. I mean, right now we have a 4-game lead on the Packers because we beat them heads up. They're 3-4. We're 6-1. So we have a 4-game lead on them because if we tie, we get in above them. Great Bears. I mean, I don't got to worry about them, but we have a tiebreaker on them as well. They're 2-4. The Falcons are 3-4. They're not going anywhere fast. The leader in the South is 3-4, for God's sakes. And in the West, I mean, you got the Rams at 3-3. You got the Niners at 3-4. You got the Seahawks at 4-3. So it's going to be very hard for this team not to make the playoffs at this point. Well, I think we're going to the playoffs. I'm like 100%. We're going to the playoffs. Giants are going to the playoffs. If we don't, we don't. Sue me. But I think we're going to the playoffs. Let's see what we got. Rich Rodriguez says, Phillips, I know, decent filling in for Neal. 9-1 still. Yeah, he did a good job. I mean, he definitely gave up pressure on one play towards the end. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't noticeably horrible. I'm sure it wasn't great, but it wasn't like embarrassingly bad. He did as good of a job as you could hope for him, stepping in for the injured Evan Neal. I don't know if you could depend on him for the rest of the season if Evan Neal's out, for the year. I don't know if he's going to be or not. But if he is, maybe they look and add somebody else in free agency. Who knows? But he did a pretty good job, all things considered. Phillips stepping in. Patrick, Bobby Skinner should do a video about Tibbs' holds against him. He certainly should, because it was there. I mean, the last drive specifically. I mean, the guy had his arm around his neck every play. So, yeah, it was obvious. He was getting held every play. Chris, man, thank you very much. Joe Tana and fellow Barkley supporters, can we agree that no other running back in the NFL could produce at a high level with zero support on the offensive side? Listen, I think he's the most talented running back in the NFL. I've thought that for a very long time. There's a reason that in his draft class, people said he was the best overall player in that draft. It's very rare that people say that about a running back. And yes, to your point, he has never had the best support system. Everybody talks about the support system for Daniel Jones. It's the same thing for Saquon Barkley. When the opposing defense knows you can't throw the football because of your lack of weaponry on the outside, because of your poor scheme, your poor play calling from a guy like Jason Garrett, that's going to impact every player on the offense. So for what he's been provided with, yeah, I don't think many running backs would be as successful as he's been. He won Rookie of the Year. He had over 2,000 scrimmage yards his first year, and he's probably going to have over 2,000 scrimmage yards this year. So, yeah, he's as good as any running back in the league, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, you could throw out Derrick Henry. You could throw out guys like, I think he's as good as any running back in the league. And now I think you're seeing him being inserted into a modern-day offense, a good offense, and you're seeing him benefit because of it. But, yeah, he's up there. I would put him up there with any running back in the National Football League. I would even go as far to say, Chris, that I'd put him up there with any weapon in the National Football League. Maybe you could point to one or two guys you'd rather have, but he's in the discussion if you include the wide receiver position as well. He's a dynamic playmaker. Guys like him don't grow on trees. He's a special player. He's really good. Not even really good. He's great. Let's see what we got. Big Moo says, I love the fan wearing the Dable face. Yes, there were plenty of those. I saw those during the game, Big Moo. That was awesome. And Adam says, bird in hand, keep 22 plus 8. There are offense and model citizens. I think we're keeping them. I don't know if we're going to keep them for 5 years. We'll see. I think it's a year-by-year basis. But I think we're keeping them. I think they're earning themselves another year. I really do. I really do. Cole Gordon says, say we go 12-5, lose second round, play game if all healthy. Say we go 12-5, lose second round. Okay, what about it? So you're saying, say we go 12-5, lose in the second round, play game if all healthy. Okay, it's a great year. That means we won a playoff game, right? So that's a great year. If that's what I don't know what you mean. But that'd be a great year if we go 12-5, make the playoffs and lose in the second round. Yeah, that'd be much more than anybody could have ever expected at the beginning of the year. NY Giants 26 says, glad the Giants won. Big day tomorrow. That's all I wanted. We got a victory Monday tomorrow. And yeah, well, I'm assuming you're talking about your surgery. Hopefully all goes well with that, man. Chris says, next game, Leo reminds Gino he's still that punk quarterback during their Jets tenure. Let's go. Hey, man, we'll see. Gino's been really good. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's definitely been one of the good stories to the NFL this year. He's definitely putting up really good numbers. Seattle's winning football games. He's a big part of it. And people wrote him off, myself included. I mean, the guy was, 30, 31, 32 years old. He hasn't been a starting quarterback for God knows how long. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I did not expect him to play well this year. I thought Seattle was tanking. He's proven me wrong. He's playing really well. So I'm going to give him respect, and we'll see how we do going up against him. But I think Wink will draw up a good game plan, and hopefully we can get Geno Smith off his mark, and we could come up with a couple of turnovers. Frank, man, thank you very much, man. DJ's a franchise quarterback. Even his pick was the right throw. Just happened he didn't see the linebacker coming across the throw was bad because the hit he was about to receive. Yeah, good point. Yeah, because they were getting pressure. That's what you're saying. Still stood there and threw it. DJ is a franchise quarterback. DJ is definitely a good quarterback at this point. I'm saying that. He's a good quarterback. He's a quarterback that can win football games. He's a good quarterback. Give him Miami's situation. He's putting up stats like Tua is. I promise you. I promise you. Give him the Eagles situation. He's putting up stats. I promise you. Get him some weapons. See what happens. So Dan Jones is a good quarterback. Dan Jones is a good quarterback. I'm not going to go as far as say he's an elite quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. And I hope he continues to grow and get better. Patrick, man, thank you very much. Your attempt to say running was equivalent to Tana attempting stand up. Thank you, Patrick, man. I appreciate it, man. Tommy B says 6-1, but are we the best team? But are we the third best team in our division? We might be. I mean, right now, it's hard to say we're better than the Cowboys. I'm gonna have my power rankings up Tuesday. It's gonna be the first power rankings I do on my channel. I told you guys I was gonna do that last week, but then I said to myself, I'll do it on Tuesday when the power rankings come out after Monday Night Football. That's just gonna be a fun video I do. It'll probably be an hour in length. I'm gonna try to timestamp it for you guys if you guys are interested in watching it. Where I break it down by team. I said I was only gonna do 10 teams, and a lot of you guys in my comments said, "No, Chris, do the whole league." It'll be a fun video to listen to in a podcast format, so that's what I'll do. So I'm not sure where I'm going to rank the Giants quite yet, but obviously they're going to be high. In terms of the third best team in our division, you can make that argument. I mean, right now the Eagles have the best record in football, and the Cowboys beat us heads up, and they're only one game worse than the Giants. So you could make that argument. But, I mean, the NFC East is a beast. The NFC East is a beast. Right now the NFC East has our record. If you combine our records, even Washington doesn't have a bad record now, right? I mean, it's below 500, but even them, they're like 3-4, right? Let me take a quick look. I think they're 3-4. The NFC's record combined right now is 8, 14, 20 wins and 7 losses in the division. And if you take Washington out of the equation, the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys are a combined 17-3. And the Giants and Cowboys and the only two of those 3 losses are in division. The Giants lost to the Cowboys and the Cowboys lost to the Eagles. So if you take the games that they've played one another out of it, the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys have, I think the Eagles have 5 wins out of the division. Well, it says right here. Yeah, they're 2-0 in the division. So if you take away the divisional games, the Eagles are 4-0, but one of those are against Washington. So that's not including against the Giants and Cowboys. So 5-0. The Giants their only loss came to the Cowboys. So they're undefeated outside of the Cowboys. And the Cowboys' only 2 losses came in division against, one of them came outside of division. So only 1 loss, not between one another. So yeah, I mean, right now, those are 3 of the top 5 or 6 teams in football through 7 weeks. How could you say they're not? So we got a beastly division again. And that's what's so crazy about the NFL, man. Like 2 years ago, you could have said the NFC East was the worst division, not just in football that year, in the history of the NFL. If it wasn't, it was damn near close. The divisional winner had 7 wins. The Giants almost won. The Giants could have won the division with 6 wins had the Eagles played their starters against Washington. They could have won the division with 6-10. Now, 2 years later, that's the best division in football. It's crazy. And what is the common theme why this division turned over as quickly as it did? Sure, there's been a lot of player acquisitions. Sure, the New York Giants have stayed healthy. But what's the common theme? Nick Sirianni, Brian Daboll. These teams got the right coaches in place. The Cowboys were bad in 2020 because they had a ton of injuries. They already had a good football team. But the Eagles got Sirianni. He flipped that program upside on, going in the right direction. And the same thing with Brian Daboll. So just incredible, man. Just incredible. Coaching definitely matters. Daniel, let's put the offensive line worries to bed. Finally, please. Down 2 starters. Look at how solid they were. DJ's clean pocket all night. Coaching matters. Coaching's improving this entire team, whether it be the line, whether it be the quarterback. Coaching's definitely improving this entire team. So, yeah, I mean, Bobby Johnson's doing a fantastic job with that unit. Andrew Thomas, of course, certainly helps. Best left tackle in the National Football League. But, yeah, for them to step up in the method in which they did, losing 2 starters from within that game, and Jones only gets sacked 1 time against by the way, I'm very curious to see the blitz frequency stats in that game when they come out, hopefully tomorrow, because it seemed to me, I don't know about you guys, it seemed to me while I was calling that game, watching that game, the Jaguars were blitzing almost every play. Like they were sending a lot of guys, and they were getting help. And you see it with the running backs too. Saquon Barkley's laying blocks, Breida's laying blocks, the tight ends are laying blocks. It's a team effort. It's been great. It's been great. And yeah, coaching has a lot to do with it. Cushman, my man, what's going on, Cushman? Says, get Jerry Jeudy on this damn squad. I would love Jerry Jeudy. I would love Jerry Jeudy. That's the exact type of wide receiver, if he was available, that I would love to acquire. He's young. He's relatively cheap. I know he's a first-round pick, so his contract's probably somewhat hefty, but he hasn't hit his second contract yet. He clearly has potential. He has a connection to Dable. He played with him at Alabama. And I said it the stream the other day. I think it was with Bad Dog. His situation is like, to me, is like eerily similar to the situation that Amari Cooper had before he became a Dallas Cowboy. You know, like a lot of people were giving up on Amari Cooper while he was with the Raiders. He had 2 bad years. I think one of them was, a year and a half that was really bad. And he was a former top 5 pick, had really high expectations, similar to Jeudy. And then he got put in a better situation, a better offense, and look what happened. So Judy's the type of guy, if the deal was there, I'd be completely for it. And if you're Denver right now, how do you not think about selling? I mean, it's been a disaster. So if you get your hands on a guy like Jerry Jeudy, yeah, I think that would improve the receiving core big time. I'd be completely open to something like that if it made sense. Depending on the price, of course. Robert Bellamy. I love you, bro. I think you meant to say I love you, bro. And if you didn't, you might have said I hate you, bro. But I'm hoping you meant to say I love you, bro. If you said I hate you, bro, I'm sorry. I don't want any of you guys to hate me, but some of you guys are going to hate me. Some of you guys are going to love me. You got to realize that as a human being, not everybody's always going to like you. So I think you meant to say I love you, bro. You remember me. I do. I saw you in the chat today in Bad Dog stream. I told you at Mad Dog to get pumped, we will win. And you called it. Listen, the team's got to give us a reason to get pumped. But when they do, it's fun, man. And I have so much fun doing those streams. Thank you so much for watching and supporting, man. I can't wait to do it next week. Frank, DJ better than Dak. If DJ was on the Cowboys, we would be talking about him with Mahomes and Allen. Look, Frank, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to go as far to say that because that's elite company. Who knows? I hope. But people that just look at stats are going to say Dak this, Dak this, Dak that. The Cowboys were like 5-0 without Dak. The Cowboys were 5-0 without Dak. With a quarterback that couldn't make our roster as a third-string quarterback. Not that I'm comparing him to Dak. I think Dak's better than Cooper Rush. But yes, I think Daniel Jones is in Dak's class. I could honestly tell you with a straight face, Daniel Jones right now today, ask yourself this. If Dak was a New York Giant, are the New York Giants any better than 6-1? Tell me that with a straight face. If you think they'd be better than 6-1. They might not even be 6-1. Because Dak can't do the things with his legs that Daniel Jones can. And that's been a big part of this offense with the wide receivers that we have. Are we 6-1? I don't even think we are 6-1 if Dak's the quarterback. And we're certainly not better than 6-1. Dak wasn't going to do anything against that Dallas pass rush the way our offensive line blocked that night. He would have got devoured. Ask yourself that. So is it really that crazy to say that Daniel Jones is entering Dak Prescott's class? Dak Prescott to me was always a quarterback that was in a perfect situation. Perfect situation. But Frank, man, thank you very much. Big Daddy. Bad reps, terrible wide receivers, but we keep winning. We find ways to win. Injuries, we overcame it. We find ways to win football games, Big Daddy. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it rolling, man. Let's go. And besides the top 5 to 8 quarterbacks, who else does more with these wide receivers? Yeah, I mean, listen. To me, there's an elite status of quarterbacks, but it's like you said, it's like 5 to 8. It's a small group. And after that, yeah, do you think Derek Carr is going to come in here and look incredible with this supporting cast? Do you think Dak Prescott's going to come in here and look incredible with this supporting cast? Do you think Kyler Murray is going to come? All of a sudden, Kyler Murray gets the coach excuse, by the way, by a lot of Giants fans. I see it on Twitter. You know, you bring up that Kyler Murray doesn't look so hot this year and Daniel Jones is starting to trend upwards. Well, yeah, it's because of the coaching. Well, that's what Giants fans have been saying for 3 years, and you've said that Daniel Jones needs to overcome that. So all of a sudden, Kyler Murray, because you like him, gets the coaching excuse. Kyler Murray's not coming in here and doing better than Daniel Jones has been doing. He's not. Sorry, he's not an elite quarterback. So yeah, there was an elite class of quarterbacks, but it's few and far between. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Hopefully I'm caught up. We got my man MY Giants 26. He says, are we really rebuilding? We thought the Eagles were looking at a rebuild last year. Turns out they won. So are we. We should just build off of them. Well, you can listen. I think Brian Dable is proving that you can rebuild and win at the same time. You don't need to completely knock down the team. And right now, I'm going to tell you right now, Dave Gettleman is watching what Brian Dable is doing with his players, and he's smiling ear to ear. And he's saying to himself, if I ever had a coach, I would have looked a lot better. My draft books look a lot better with a head coach. And Joe Judge is looking at what Brian Dable is doing, and he's very depressed. Joe Judge is questioning whether he should ever coach a football team ever again for the rest of his life. Because to me, it is clearly apparent, not to say that Dave was a good GM. He wasn't. He made a lot of bad decisions. He made some bad free agent moves. He put us in cap situation. But I think it is clearly proven that Dave Gettleman knew at least somewhat what he was doing in the draft. Because all these players making an impact on this team with better coaching are players that he drafted for the most part. So I think it goes to show you just how bad the coaching situation was with the New York Giants, with Shermer and Judge, and just how much coaching does indeed matter. Let's see what we got. But no, I don't think they're completely knocking this down the way this team is playing right now. Javi, my wife gets mad at me when I have y'all on during the games and have the TV muted. Got my tickets for the Giants game versus Texans. I'll see you there. Oh, you're coming from Texas. Yeah, I'll see. I'm definitely going. I'm going with my brother. I want to get there as early as possible, which I think is like 8 a.m. So I'm looking forward to it. My brother's really looking forward to it too. He's always so excited. When he comes in my streams and sees how much the channel's grown, and he's excited to get to meet some of you guys firsthand also. So I'm looking forward to going with Greg and getting to meet some of you guys. But that's awesome, man. I'll see you there. Dre says, words can't tell how great I feel. Thanks for leading us fans the last few years. I've been said we are the playoff team. Daniel Mother Blanket Jones. Imagine if we had better receivers. Hey, man, I take no credit at all. I have a channel. I talk about a team that I love. A lot of you guys listen to me. A lot of you guys gravitate towards me. But yeah, I'm just a fan. I share my opinion, and I try to be as objective as I possibly can as a fan. There's going to be times I'm right. There's going to be times I'm wrong, just like everybody else in this chat. That's what opinions are. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. But I have fun. I try to build a community where I try to talk to all different types of Giants fans, regardless of what their opinions are. Sometimes when you have an off-the-wall opinion, I'm gonna get a little heated. I'm going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But in the end, we're all Giants fans. We all love the team. And I thank you for allowing me to create a platform like this to grow in the way in which it has. People like you, Dre, people who tune into my live streams, John Murphy, LP, everybody in here. I've been covering this team on YouTube now for, I think, 5 years, whatever, since the Saquon Barkley draft. I wasn't on YouTube for that draft, but right after his rookie year in 2018. And there's been a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of ups and downs. It's been a lot of downs. We're finally getting some ups. We had some, some small ups with Joe Judge that we obviously were wrong about, but hopefully we're trending down the right path. And it's been fun, man, to get to experience this with all you guys, man, that have been a part of my channel, been a part of so many other people's channels in the Giants community. They follow me on Twitter, everything else, man. It's been a blast. So yeah, I take no credit for this. It's the team, man. And I don't think I lead you guys, man. I just try to create a community, and I try to express my opinion, and I appreciate all you guys. Christian Cologne says, haven't heard from the DJ haters. Hope they are okay. Oh, trust me, they're waiting in the weeds, Christian Cologne. The Daniel Jones haters right now, they're like this. They're like this. They're like sitting in the grass like this. They're waiting to pounce. They're like a tiger, Christian Cologne. The first time Daniel Jones throws an interception, it's gonna happen. They're gonna go like this. They're gonna jump out. They're gonna jump out. They're gonna pounce. They're going to pounce. They're going to say, oh, Anthony Richardson. Oh, this quarterback. Oh, that quarterback. Oh, we need to trade 4 first-round picks. It's happening. It's coming. It's inevitable. They're waiting. But, I mean, listen, the same thing happened to Eli Manning for years. Not that I'm comparing Daniel Jones to Eli Manning, but he had haters his entire career, even after he won his first Super Bowl, even after he won a second Super Bowl. I lived through it. People said constantly, we need to draft a quarterback. We need to bench Eli. This, that, the other thing. It's New York. It's the most pressured position. It's the most important position on a football team. And it's probably the toughest position to play in sports in New York, because it is a position, unlike baseball, for example, when you have a pitcher like Garrett Cole, for example, with the New York Yankees, it's on him. Like, if he goes out there and he lets up 4 home runs, it's on him, completely on him. If you have RJ Barrett, who goes out there for the Knicks, turns the ball over 7 times and is 0 of 9 from three-point land, that's on him for the most part. Of course, having better players around you in basketball is going to help you a bit, but that's on him for the most part. In football, the quarterback is so dependent on so many other factors that are around him. whether it be the offensive play calling, whether it be the offensive line, whether it be the wide receivers, but they are the most important position. So they take all the heat. It's a common phrase in the NFL. The quarterback, the position gets way too much credit when the team's good, and it gets way too much blame when the team's bad. And it's true. It rings true. So it is a very high-pressure position. It will continue to be he will continue to be the most scrutinized player in this New York Giants team as long as he's the starting quarterback, just like Eli Manning was. Eli Manning took the heat, never pointed the finger at anybody else, and thus far, Daniel Jones has taken the same approach, and that's what you need in a quarterback. It's not easy. It's not easy to go out there every week and anytime the team loses to be the shoulder of the blame, to get blamed for everything, where in the back of your head, you're like, well, that wasn't really my fault. That wasn't really my fault that Andrew Thomas in his rookie year was blowing blindside blocks and I was getting obliterated. It's not really my fault that David Sills doesn't know how to play the wide receiver position. It's not really my fault that Josh Azudu isn't ready to quite block and pass protect for me quite yet. But at the end of the day, as the quarterback, as the leader of the team, you got to stand up there and you got to take the brunt of the criticism. And it comes with the position, and it's going to continue. But I think he's built, at least mentally, to overcome that. And I think he's very similar to Eli Manning in that aspect. I don't think his quarterbacks, they're very similar in terms of the way that they play. But in terms of that, in terms of the way that he handles the media, in terms of the way he is as a leader, I think he's very similar to Eli Manning in that aspect. And that's the way you need to be when you're in New York. And Christian, man, thank you very much. Let's see what we got. I meant general manager. Let me scroll back up and see what you meant. Maybe you meant. I want to get exactly what you meant. I'm trying to scroll back up to your first super chat because I didn't know what you meant. So I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find it. I know you said something about the record 6-1 and the general manager. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm gonna scroll up to it, Cole. 1 second. There's Ethan, Tommy, Patrick, Frank, Chris, New York Giants 26. I'm getting to you. It's up there somewhere. Eric. Still looking. Is that you? No, that's not you. Richard. Sorry, man, I can't find it. It's too far back. But I think you said something along the lines of 6-1 does this mean Joe Schoen is doing like a fantastic job? Or I don't know exactly what you mean. Here's what I'm going to say about the GM. I'll just answer the GM based off of the record. Right now, I think it's much easier to judge the job that Brian Daboll has done than the job Joe Schoen's done. Like, if you're being honest. Like, Brian Daboll has taken on this team with these players that he inherited, and he's getting the most out of them. Joe Schoen has done some good things, though. He has brought in Jalen Smith has made an impact. Fabian Moreau has made an impact. Kayvon Thibodeau, I'm not going to give him tons of credit for because he inherited the 5th and 7th overall pick. But he's looked good, right? Some of his later round picks look like they have promise. So we'll see. But I definitely think Joe Schoen's a smart guy, and I definitely think he has a plan, which is a lot more than you could say for Dave Gettleman year one. But at the same time, the majority of this roster are still Dave Gettleman players. The majority of the guys that are making impacts on this team right now are not Joe Schoen guys. Let's be honest. So in terms of evaluating Schoen, it's too early. It's too early. You got to see how he builds this roster and he constructs the football team. But I definitely think he's got a plan. I definitely think he's a really smart guy. I definitely think he's got a really good head on his shoulders. And his best move was the head coach, Brian Daboll. You got to give him credit for that, right? I mean, that was his decision. So that was his best move thus far. I don't know exactly what your question was about the general manager, but I hope I answered it. It's hard for me to go back and see what you said, but I think thus far, you can't completely judge Joe Schoen, right? A general manager is something that you judge over a 5 or 6 year period. But he's off to a good start. He didn't force free agent signings. He didn't backload contracts. He tried to clean up the cap space as best as he could in the horrible situation that he took on. What Dave Gettleman provided him with after last, the disaster with free agency spending. And he's taken a short and steady approach, but the team is exceeding expectations year one. And a lot of that has to do with Brian Daboll, and he hired Brian Daboll, so he deserves credit for that. Bradley, man, thank you very much. What is amazing is the Giants are winning with receivers that other teams casted off. They're getting it done. Well, not just receivers, cornerbacks, Fabian Moreau, linebackers, Jalen Smith, Jihad Ward, right? I mean, he's been great for this football team. All those guys are cast-offs. John Feliciano, even though he's not good, but he's starting lineman. But they're finding ways to get it done with a lot of players that other teams didn't feel like they had any use for anymore. And that comes down to coaching. That comes down to putting these guys in the best situation to succeed. And Prince, I want to feet fight from the stands loud. I can't wait for that. Wink asked us to cheer, damn it. If that caught on, it would be intimidating. We do need a chant, Prince. I'm going to tell you that right now. We do need a chant. And hopefully we're able to come up with one. I know license plate guys been saying that for years. We do need some kind of chant. You go to other stadiums, they all have one. I know it's a bit corny and the JETS, Jets. But you know what? That gets the crowd energized. That gets the crowd pumped up. And listen, at the end of the day, the most important thing is having a product on the field that's worth cheering for. Once you provide that, which is what the New York Giants have done this year, the crowd's going to get louder. And we've noticed that. The crowd's gotten a lot louder. So that's the most important thing. But I agree. It would be nice to have a chant. Neil, what's going on, man? Stand up, Giants fans. Neil's awesome. Always talk to him on Twitter. I'm so happy Danny Dimes our quarterback. Chris, you're killing it as well. The Giants are 6-1. Let's blanking go. Neil, I'm all aboard. Daniel Jones could steer the train right now, 2023. He's my conductor. I'm rolling with him at least for another year. He's proven that. He's winning me football games. He's coming up big in the big spots. You're not going to hear me talking about drafted quarterbacks. He's doing the job. I'm happy with him. I'm pumped up. The New York Giants are 6-1. And, yeah, I can't wait for next week. Hopefully we can keep this thing going. And Tommy B, just wait until we get Gettleman's smell out. See, Gettleman's gone. See, this is one area, Tommy, and I don't know if this is what you're inferring, but this is one area where I disagree with certain people. Like, I feel like there's fans that want to, quote unquote, get Gettleman's smell out. So they're like, get rid of Barkley, get rid of Jones, get rid of anybody that had anything to do with Dave Gettleman. No. Just because Dave Gettleman did a bad job doesn't mean that he can't have made some good decisions. Right now, Daniel Jones looks like a better decision than it did before the year started. Dexter Lawrence looked like a much better decision than it did before the year started. Several other players, Xavier McKinney, Azeez Ojulari, if he could ever get on the football field. So I think there's pieces you could build with from the Dave Gettleman regime and integrate it into the guys that you're going to bring in. So, yeah, that's my mindset on it. But Dave Gettleman smells out. Dave Gettleman smells been out. The second that Joe Schoen took over, Dave Gettleman, bon voyage, you're gone. You failed. Maybe Brian Daboll saves your reputation somewhat, because at the end of the day, if Daniel Jones does revitalize his career and becomes a franchise quarterback, Gettleman has to get credit for that. Of course, Daboll as well, but Joe Schoen doesn't get credit for it. Andrew Thomas, same thing. So there's going to be pieces, hopefully, that Dave Gettleman provided Joe Schoen with, and then Joe Schoen took those pieces and built the roster that needed to be built to make this a consistent winning football team. And obviously now he has the head coach, the maestro, that is going to get the most out of these football players. But that's my mindset. Dave Gettleman's gone. But in terms of the stench, no, I think there's certain players he drafted that you could build with. And they have to pick and choose which of those players they are. But they have some foundational pieces provided to them from the prior regime. And it starts with Andrew Thomas at the left tackle. Let's see what we got. Buck Josh. Seeing Jones rip Johnson for not catching the ball was great. Buck, man, I've always thought that Daniel Jones had that dog in him, as people say. That's like a common phrase. But I've always thought he had that, even more so than like Eli Manning. Eli Manning was very reserved. Very reserved. Like you would almost never, off the top of my head, I don't think I can recall a time where Eli Manning yelled at a player. He didn't yell at a player, by the way. He just showed emotion. It wasn't like what Phillip Rivers does. I used to hate Phillip Rivers. I hated when he would do that, where he'd go above and beyond to like ridicule the player and kind of like embarrass them. He didn't do that. But Daniel Jones showed some frustration. He's like, come on. And you like that. I mean, he showed some emotion, man. So I like that. Yeah, good call, Buck Josh. And I think a lot of Giants fans responded to that as well. It's tough love. It's the same thing that Brian Daboll did to Daniel Jones. And you'll notice since Brian Daboll did that, Daniel Jones got a lot better, right? I think that was after the Saquon pick, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was after another throw. I can't remember. I think it was after the Saquon pick. Brian Daboll called Daniel Jones along on the side, and he ripped into him. And it was tough love. Since then, Daniel Jones gotten a lot better. A lot better. So, Eli did in the first Super Bowl. Like I said, I'm sure there was a moment here, a moment there. But that wasn't really Eli's personality. But I always thought Daniel Jones had a little bit of that in him, and he showed it today. T, thank you very much. People who complain about the referees are whiners. I never complain about the bad refs. The officiating in this game was hideous. It was bad. It was bad on both sides. It just so happened at the end of the game, it felt like a lot of it was going against the New York Giants in the most crucial moments, but it was bad on both sides. Do you know what the official review procedure is? What do you mean in terms of when they challenge a play, when they look at it in the camera? Is that what you're referring to? I don't know the exact specifics. I know well, obviously they look at it via the camera, and I'm sure that they conversate with one another. Maybe somebody in the chat can let me know. Is there like a I'm trying to remember if I know they did it in baseball. Did they do it in football where there's like a home base where there's like somebody that reviews it alongside the person that's reviewing the camera? Or is it strictly the referee? Because I know in baseball, now there's like a base, and in hockey, it's the same thing where they have people that they pay to actually review that are not even at the stadium. I don't remember if they did that in football. I can't remember. Donovan says they go to New York. So I guess there is there is somebody that checks it over along with the referees. There is an office in New York. Yeah. Okay. So there is an office in New York. Okay. Yeah, I thought that. I thought that it didn't used to be that way, if I'm not mistaken. I think at first it was just the referees looking at a camera, if that's what you're referring to. But yeah, so they did add that in football as well. Kind of as like I guess a backup or to conversate with them to go over the play call. But I think the referees still look at it as well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the referees don't even look at it anymore. I can't remember. They used to, obviously. Boom, thank you very much. Chances DJ makes the Pro Bowl. NFC quarterbacks seem weak. Listen, the quarterback, the Pro Bowl to me is complete nonsense anyway. I mean, it's strictly based off of statistics, and the Pro Bowl is so watered down now that half the guys that make the Pro Bowl, it's a joke because a lot of the guys don't even want to go. And I think they've since changed that, like where they're like forcing these guys to go now. I thought I read that on Twitter earlier this year. But he probably won't make the Pro Bowl simply because he doesn't have Pro Bowl stats. And in the fantasy era, that's what they go by. So Jones isn't going to throw for 4,700 yards. I'm sure there's going to be some quarterbacks that do. So I really don't care one way or the other if he makes the Pro Bowl or not. He's playing winning football, and that's all I really care about. He's playing winning football, and he's coming up big when we need him to, but probably not. I mean, there isn't a Pro Bowl this year? Really? Huh. Didn't know that. That's news to me. I did not know that. I think they should get rid of the Pro Bowl, to be honest with you. I think it's a waste. It's basically two-hand touch. It might as well be flag football. I think they should get rid of the Pro Bowl. It's the worst all-star game in all four major sports. T, thank you very much. And thanks for the play-by-play. Game was televised in South Florida, but you were my go-to guy. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, even though you were able to watch the game, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Fabian, piece of cake, nothing changing my mind. Love you, no homo. Appreciate it, Fabian. And Mr. Smith says, sorry to ruin your Jaguars party, Coach Peterson, but the Nate Sudfeld tasted like cigarettes. Yes, it did. Yes, it did when they prevented us from making the playoffs. And the other thing, I said it on Twitter at the beginning of the week, Mr. Smith, the naysayers after this game were probably saying, that win doesn't count after we beat the Jaguars today. Doug Peterson was just tanking. That doesn't count. The Jaguars were tanking. That's what Doug Peterson does. So that's probably what they're saying now. The Giants don't deserve this win because the Jaguars were tanking, since that's what Dougie P does. But all kidding aside, it felt good to get a little revenge on Doug Peterson after 2020. College Guy says, love it when you and Bad Dog mock the stats guys. It's all in good fun, man. Last week, I hope he didn't take any offense to it. He's very active. I talk to him on Twitter whenever he messages me. But, sometimes you get into it while you're watching the game, and the stat guys. It's stats. There was another guy on Twitter today that's telling me that, how good was Kayvon Thibodeau anyway? He had 2 tackles, no sacks. Did you watch the game? Do you need glasses? Maybe you need to get LASIK surgery? Kayvon Thibodeau had constant pressure the entire game. He must have been held 7 times. He made an impact on the football game. Don't care what the sack numbers say. Kayvon Thibodeau looked great. Bloom says 2 picks in 7 games looking good so far. And one of the picks is completely not on him, by the way. That was on David Sills, who fell on the route. Now, granted, you could say today, and I think the game before, he might have thrown a pick had it not been for flags. But last game in particular, you could definitely also make an argument that may have been where the ball was supposed to be, and it may not have been a pick had the wide receiver, I forgot who it was, hadn't gotten hooked in the end zone. So you don't know that, right? Because he disrupted the route when he hooked him. So As of now, out of Daniel Jones has 4 turnovers overall through 7 weeks. 4 turnovers through 7 weeks. And when you dissect those turnovers, the first turnover is completely on him. It was a horrible throw to Saquon Barkley, where he completely stared down the receiver. That was week 1. The second interception was not on him at all. It was a timing pattern. David Sills slipped when he was breaking off the route. The first fumble was on Azudu. They got pressure within a second on the interior. Jones didn't even finish his drop back, and he got blindsided. And the other fumble was a Hail Mary before the half last week, which shouldn't even count as a turnover. So, yeah, he's been great in that aspect. Abe says most game-winning drives in a season. It's 8. It's by Matt Stafford. I looked that up last week. This rate, Jones going to beat it just by the virtue of how we play. Love it. Always believed in him. Kidding aside, crazy season. Yeah, the record is Matt Stafford with 8, and then there's a bunch of quarterbacks. There's like 7 or 8 quarterbacks with 7. And I think Eli's season in 2011, he had 6. So, yeah, I mean, right now he's got 5 through 7 weeks. If he has 3 game-winning drives in the final 10 games, he ties the all-time record for a season. That's insane. That's insane. Some of that you got to give credit to Dan Jones for, obviously. But that's insane, man. He's been big in the biggest moments. Blake says, I have a pretty cool stat. Are you sitting down? Yes. Daniel Jones is averaging 49 yards per game rushing and on pace to rush for 833 yards this year. Vanilla Vic is real. Well, the other thing, Blake, I'll throw in there. Let me see if I can pull up the stat. I was all over Twitter like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'll probably be able to find it real quick. And this has probably only gotten better, by the way. I wish I could find it. But CBS had a stat like after like week 4 or 5. I think it was after week 4, maybe. And I think he had like 4 more of these in today's game, by the way. That Daniel Jones, through 4 or 5 weeks, whatever the time span was, had the second most first down runs in the history of the National Football League through 5 weeks for a quarterback. And I think it was only Vic who had more. And it was only by like 2. He had like 23 or 24 first down runs through the first 5 weeks. And today, I think he had like another 4 or 5. So yeah, he's been big time with his legs this year. There's no doubt about it, man. There's no doubt about it. And Jakey, my goat, stand up. New member, welcome to the squad, man. Thank you very much, buddy. Bellinger's vision is fine. Yeah, Bellinger. Oh, is that what they said? I hope that's the case. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the post-game interviews yet. I usually listen to that while I'm going to bed after the game. So I'll definitely listen to those when I'm going to sleep tonight. Manuel, man, thank you very much, man. Flew back from Vegas, but not before placing bets on today's game at the Giants plus 140, Giants to win the East at plus 800, and Dable head coach of the year at plus 450. Wait a second, Manuel. Brian Dable is only plus 450. He should be like minus 100. You're getting 4.5 to 1 on Brian Dable right now for coach of the year? I'm curious to see, would Saleh be second? Sirianni's probably up there too. 450? That's a good bet. That's a really good bet for Brian Dable right now. That's a really good bet for Brian Dable right now. That's crazy. Everybody should go to that casino in Vegas. Russell Reed says, I know this is an apple to orange, but hope the Giants don't get intoxicated by the playoffs like the Knicks in 2020. Front office still has its work to do. Of course the front office still has its work to do. But I'm just going to enjoy the season as we go along. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think Joe Schoen didn't draft any of these players. He has no attachments to these players. I think he's going to identify which players he wants to push forward with, and the ones that he does, he's going to identify how long of a time frame he wants to push forward with those players. He's going to take the players that he thinks are good to build with for next year's football team, and he'll take it from there. But no, I don't think that'll be the case. These aren't Joe Schoen's guys. They're Dave Gettleman's guys. So he's going to pick the guys that he thinks he should push forward with. That being said, I think Daniel Jones is going to be one of them. And I think Saquon Barkley's probably going to be one of them. But we'll see at year's end. But no, I don't think they're going to get intoxicated. I think they're going to take a slow and steady approach, and they're going to continue to build this team the right way. Jake Patterson, man, thank you very much. Worried about Seattle. 12th man is going to be loud next week, and our run defense looks suspect. And Geno is playing good at the moment, 1 week at a time. I agree. I'm not taking anybody for granted. Our run defense certainly needs to get better. We're lucky in a sense that Seattle, I'm thinking about Seattle, that Jacksonville got away from the run today because Travis Etienne was killing us. Keith Wilson, man, thank you very much. Is O-line the bigger need than a wide receiver, at least offensively? I feel like we need to bolster that ASAP, and you could get a wide receiver late, linebacker DB in the draft as well. Right now, to me, Keith, I mean, I'm going to assume Nevin Neal's back next year if he's not back this year. Hopefully he's back this year. Our biggest need on the offensive line right now is a center. Obviously, you hope that we have the tackle situated. So I think a center is our biggest need. And traditionally speaking, when it comes to the NFL, you could usually get either the first center off the board or the second center off the board in the second round. So I think we could certainly, it's depending on where we're picking in the draft. We're at 25 or 26, and there's a really good center prospect. We could certainly go center in the first round. But I think wide receiver is our biggest need right now. But I definitely think we need to continue to address the offensive line as well. I think that's still a need, especially the interior. So, but I would say wide receiver one is the biggest need right now to really open up this offense next year. We need it. I mean, you look at this team right now. We got a bunch of practice squad wide receivers. So I think right now wide receiver is our biggest need, and then I would say interior offensive line along with, I'd still say cornerback too, even though Moreau's playing great. Adore Jackson's only under contract for another year. I think we need more help in the secondary, even in the slot. Darnay Holmes doesn't look great this year. So I think that's a big need as well, along with coverage linebacker. Let's see what we got. Shay McDonald. He says, it seems like Wan'Dale was the perfect pick for this offense as long as he stays healthy and we could get a true number one. Yeah, I mean, you think about what a number one could do for even him, a guy like Wan'Dale. I think he's perfect. He's a perfect number two. And he's a guy that fits this scheme so well. Like, you notice like every play today, Shay, every play, I'm calling it out. Wan'Dale Robinson in motion left to right. Wan'Dale Robinson in motion right to left. There's Wan'Dale. Some plays he was going right to left. He'd come back left to right. Like it was motion every play with Wan'Dale Robinson. They had a defined plan for this guy, and he's only going to continue to get better. I'm a big fan of Wan'Dale Robinson right now. I think he's going to be a really nice piece for the future. I don't think he's a one, like you said, but I think he's a very good two, or could be a very good two. Gavin, man, thank you very much. Was at the game with my son, driving back to South Florida now. Sea Blue, amazing to see, 6-1. Dude, they showed you guys on the TV. I hope you enjoyed the game, Gavin. But you guys filled that stadium up big time. And I hope you guys had a great time. A lot of you guys told me on the channel that you were planning to go. Makes sense. You get a lot of New York transplants in Florida. And I'm glad that you, your son, and every other Giants fan that was there had a great time. You guys filled it up. And it wasn't a situation, by the way, where the game was out of hand. Like a lot of times when a game's out of hand and, you know, the visiting team's up by 25, 30 points, you'll see all the home fans leave. And then it'll have the feeling of, you know, there's a lot of the visitors fans there. No, this was a game that was in the balance until the very end. And you guys were the louder fan base. So great job by you guys showing up. I hope you had a blast. And that was awesome. That was awesome to see the Giants pride on the road, man. You guys were louder in that stadium than fans have been in Giants Stadium before this year for a very long time. And that just goes to show you how good the football team is playing. Sonny, man, thank you very much, man. Next week will be interesting against the Seahawks. Both are similar teams doing better than people expected. Both quarterbacks playing well after being written off. Yeah, and that's a very good storyline. And you got to have respect for Pete Carroll. He's a good head coach. And Russell Wilson does not look good for Russell Wilson right now. It really doesn't. He went to a team that everybody thought had a lot more talent, myself included, with the Denver Broncos. He leaves, and Seattle looks like they haven't missed a beat with Geno Smith at quarterback. And Geno Smith's playing very well. I'm not taking anything away from him. Yeah, it's going to be a test. It's a tough team. It's on the road. It's a tough environment. We'll see if the New York Giants could show up and get a W. Buck Josh says, we are underdogs again. Open up. Seahawks are -1.5. So a little bit more respect. I thought we'd be underdogs based off the way the Seahawks played this week and the fact they're at home. I thought we'd be slight underdogs. I probably thought it'd be about 2.5, 3. So it's 1.5. I'm fine with that. I love being underdogs. Keep it going. We're winning when they doubt us. So keep doing it, Vegas. We love it. Octave says, about lost my mind watching the officials try to screw us in the last minute. Regardless, a win is a win. Daniel Jones is getting better each week, and that's the most important thing. Jones is getting better. Lions getting better. Everyone's getting better, and that's the most important thing. Let's see. You think we get at least one W against Philly, John says. I think we definitely have a chance, and I thought that before the year started that we have a chance to get one win against Philly. What I worry about against the Eagles, I don't love the way we match up with them defensively, and maybe things will change. We still have a long time before we get to that game. But we have shown now for multiple weeks that we are really struggling against the run, and hopefully that's something that improves over time. There's not many teams that run the ball better than the Philadelphia Eagles. We might be one of them, the way we're running the ball this year. But we got to do a much better job in terms of our run defense. And obviously, they have two really good weapons on the outside. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough test. They do match up pretty well against us from an offensive-defensive standpoint. But listen, it's a divisional game, and if we can do to Jalen Hurts what we did last year, we have a chance. Last year, we forced Jalen Hurts to throw from the pocket, and he turned the ball over a ton. You keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, you take away his legs, yeah, they're going to struggle. That's easier said than done. Our run defense needs to get a lot better. But listen, one week at a time, and I think this team's going to be a better team by the time we play the Eagles than we are now. Our run defense has to get better, though, before we play them if we're going to beat them. Sticky Fingers, did Wan'Dale miss the second half with a crush? No, he came back in. He just didn't have any catches. But I'm pretty sure Wan'Dale was back in there. They just didn't use him in the second half. They ran the ball in the second half. I mean, Daniel Jones had 170 yards passing at halftime. I think he only had 202 for the game because they ran. That entire touchdown drive was all runs, mainly Daniel Jones. But yeah, they focused on the run in the second half. Kylie, thank you very much. Giants go 9-1. Do we get the entertainer only fan? Probably not. Miles says, was at the game, amazing energy loss. I can't even imagine. I can't wait to go to the Houston Texans game in a couple of weeks, man. I cannot wait. That's the day after my birthday, November 13th. So I already know the energy at the stadium for that is going to be off the charts. And yeah, I can't even imagine what it's been like for you guys going to these games the last couple of weeks, man. It must be so much fun. OBJ is 9 months removed from the surgery. Shouldn't risk $1 on him this season. Maybe Mike's talking to somebody else in the chat. The Eagles are not that good, guys. Please stop. I don't think the Eagles are like, listen, the Eagles are good. The Eagles are very good. Okay? But they're not unbeatable. They're not unbeatable. We could certainly beat them. But before we get to them, our run defense has to get a lot better. A lot better. Run defense has to get much better if we're going to beat them. Let's see. Tibbs was excellent. It was held. Tibbs was great, especially in that last drive. Major Guy says, Chris, promised the one chip chat. Yes, if we get it, yes, I did promise that. If we win a playoff game this year, I shouldn't have said it because we might very well win a playoff game. I told you guys I would do the one chip challenge, and I will embarrass myself on YouTube if that's the case. But it'll be well worth it if we get a playoff win. Saquon going out of bounds is ridiculous, unacceptable. We won the game. We won the game. It was a bad mistake. We won the game. We won the game. Yeah, hopefully he learns from it. Hopefully he improves. I am not, in the moment, yeah, I lectured Saquon a little bit because he can't do it. He did it 3 times on the same drive. But without Saquon Barkley, this team might have 3 wins this year. Might. I'm gonna be like, okay, Saquon, don't do it again. You've played your ass off this year. You played great in this game outside of that. Don't do it again. That's it. Let's see what we got. James Ramon says, if you can learn from a mistake and win, what's the issue? Yeah, exactly. King, I get it, King. Listen, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want from Giants fans. King is the biggest Daniel Jones fan I know. And kudos to you because Daniel Jones is playing great. And I'm supporting Daniel Jones. I've supported Daniel Jones this whole year. Kudos to you. But just because you love Daniel Jones doesn't mean you need to destroy Saquon Barkley. I see in the comments all the time destroying Saquon Barkley. Why? Why? Great. Daniel Jones is doing great. A big reason why Daniel Jones is doing great is because of Saquon Barkley. Just be happy the team's winning. Are you a Giants fan or are you a Daniel Jones fan? Saquon Barkley has a lot to do with the team's success. You don't have to destroy Saquon Barkley because you like Daniel Jones. You can be happy for both of them. I'm happy for both of them. They're both playing well. One guy's helping the other. Let's see what we got. Lemieux is on the verge of being back. I think Lemieux will be back. I just don't know if he's going to be put back in the starting lineup. We'll see. Manny, man, thank you very much. Name 10 quarterbacks I won over dimes. I have maybe 11. Maybe I'll make a video on that. Maybe I'll make a video on. Maybe I'll make a video on. Would you guys be interested in that? Now I know Giants fans like King are gonna kill me, because King wants me to have Daniel Jones like 5th in the league. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I'm not gonna have him 5th in the league. But would you guys be interested in me doing a video ranking Daniel Jones? Because maybe I'll do it. I think that'd be a fun topic. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to put him fifth in the league. So don't kill me if I don't have him fifth in the league. But we'll see. And NY Giants 26 says, DJ is top 15 quarterback playing like a top 12. I think Daniel Jones has entered top 50. Yeah, I just said, maybe tiers are more appropriate. But I just said, man, I think Daniel Jones has entered the Dak tier. And I really believe that. And I'm not basing this off stats because if you just look at stats, when Dak was completely healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback. We all know he's not a top 5 quarterback. I think Daniel Jones has entered the Dak tier. I'm hoping he could pass it. Sonny, thank you very much. We had trouble with Travis Etienne. Kenneth Walker is emerging as a good running back for the Seahawks. We need to tighten up on the run defense. We've had trouble against Travis Etienne. We've had trouble against every running back we've played since the most ironic thing is the first game and a half we were doing really well in terms of run defense, and we held down Derrick Henry that first game. He basically did nothing in the second half, and we held down Christian McCaffrey for the first half of that Panthers game, and then Leonard Williams went down and he had he started going off. But the run defense has to get better. I'm not scared of Philly. I'm not scared of anybody right now, the way this team is playing. Vibes. Why would you be? Who's arguably top 5? Daniel Jones? I can't go that far yet. I personally can't go that far yet, Slade. But I like him, and I think he's proving to be closer to top 5 than he was at the start of the year. But I like him. But I'm not going to make that video if people are going to get mad at me because I don't have Daniel Jones in the top 5. Because I'm not. I'm not going to have him in the top 5. Do I think he could reach that? Maybe. But he's not my top 5 right now. I got to be honest. Let's see. Enter Dak tier. Dak is the worst quarterback in the league. What? Dak's not the worst quarterback in the league. Stop. And Abe, thank you very much, man. Got to seal the edges a little better in the run game. Yeah, the only defensive end that has done a good job, I think our best defensive end in that type specifically is Jihad Ward. He's very good at sealing the edge. And actually, O'Shane Jimenez has been good at that too. But yeah, we have to do a much better job at that. Slade, listen, I'm going to take that into account. That's why I'm probably going to have him ranked higher than a lot of people do. But I'm not going to say top 5. Not yet. But I'm going to take that into account. I'm going to take his supporting cast into account. Sticky Fingers, man, thank you very much. When you run out of super chats and start putting the free chats on the screen, that's when we see the nonsense. Well, Sticky Fingers, you know what happens, man, when I only respond to super chats, which, by the way, thank you guys for the incredible generosity. Okay, thank you. I can't say thank you enough. When I come on here and you guys donate, and your donations are a big part of my show, like for this reason. Like you said, when people donate, they generally give really good talking points and it creates good conversation and dialogue and yada, yada, yada. Thank you. But when you don't respond to the rest of the chat, and I always try to go above and beyond to do so, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm like, you have to pay to talk to me. I have a large chat. If somebody gives me $2, I'm going to respond to them. But when I have an opportunity to start pulling up people that didn't donate, I try to. But it's not because people who don't donate don't give good comments. It's because it's very hard to pick out individual comments, and you just click on them and you try to get to everybody you possibly can. So that, I think that's the reason for that. But thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Let's see what we got. Fabian. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I didn't. Fabian says, something in common. My birthday's November 9th. Scorpio, go Giants. I'm November 12th. So there you go. Scorpio brothers in the house. What's going on, man? I want to shout out Authentic. I see he's in. I might have already shouted him out if I didn't. Is Stephen Lilly in here, by the way? If Stephen Lilly's in here, shout out to him. But yeah, check out Authentic, man. He's the man. Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Burrow, Jackson. That's your top 5. Off the top of my head, but Mahomes and Allen definitely in my top 2. I don't know if I'd have Rodgers top 5 anymore. And I'm like the biggest Rodgers fan on the planet, but the way that Rodgers is playing right now, man, I don't know. He's falling a little bit for me. I think Herbert's in my top 5. I know they're not up to the best of starts, but I think Herbert's in my top 5. I'd have to look at it. But Rodgers is falling down a little bit. And Slade1 says worst 6-1 team so far. I love it. I could run with that for days, man. I could run for that for days with with the New York Giants being the worst at this, the worst at that. We're the worst 6-1 team. Next week will be the worst 7-1 team. Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback that's ever started 6-1. That started off his career drafted by Dave Gettleman, 6th overall in the draft, coming out of Duke. Hey, man, thank you very much. Want to talk? Pay the man. No, not at all, man. Not at all. Not at all. Don't feel the need to do that. I just, did you see the Bellinger news? No, I think I just saw it from you, actually, when I was scanning through the chat. You said he needs surgery. So I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't know how long the surgery is going to be. I don't know how long he's going to require till he comes back, but hopefully he's back sooner than later, man. Yeah, I'm not. I just decided I'm not doing the DJ video. I'm not doing the DJ video because I'm gonna have fans like King KT that if I don't have Daniel Jones in the top 5, they're gonna destroy me. So I'll leave that video out. Let's see what we got. Hudson and Chris Myrick have been good too. Yeah, listen, Myrick really stepped up in a big way today, right? I think he had 2 catches in the second half after Bellinger went down. Listen, as good as Bellinger's been, and I'm a big fan of Bellinger. I don't think it's like an injury where you're like, we're dead. The Evan Neal one is much more concerning for me. I think we could get decent tight end play until such time Bellinger is back. Obviously, I'm not happy he's hurt, and he's been a really good player for us. But I think he's like at least somewhat replaceable, especially as we get some of our other weapons back, Wando Robinson and hopefully Kadarius Toney. The Evan Neal injury to me is very concerning. I'm not saying he's good because of Saquon Barkley. I simply say that he's better because of Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley right now is better because of Daniel Jones. They're helping each other out. Saquon Barkley would make any quarterback better. That's a compliment to Saquon Barkley. It's not a knock on Daniel Jones. Derrick Henry makes quarterbacks better. A great weapon makes a quarterback better. Just because you compliment one player doesn't mean it's a knock on another player. Quarterbacks need weapons. Connor, man, thank you very much, man. All I want for Thanksgiving is to beat the Cowgirls at Jerry's World. And let's be honest, when healthy, receivers, maybe trade for more, we can win. What do you mean by, you mean the Cowboys game? Yeah, listen, man, the only thing that I'm concerned with now, the Cowboys are a good team, so I shouldn't say it's the only thing I'm concerned with. But the biggest concern that you left coming out of that Cowboys game was Evan Neal, right, in terms of the way that he played against Tank Lawrence. And if Evan Neal's not going to play, which I was under the assumption that Evan Neal was going to continue to improve and get better as a right tackle by the time we face the Cowboys again, you got to worry about that, right? Going up against Tank Lawrence, throwing in the backup right tackle. So that's a concern for me now going into that Cowboys game if Evan Neal's unable to play. We'll see. But I think we could compete with the Cowboys. I see no reason why we can't. I know that they manhandled us the first game in the trenches, but I think our defense will be further along at that point. Definitely still got to worry about our tackle play going up against them with their pass rushers. But we'll see how we suit up with them the second time. But I definitely think it's a game we could keep in check for sure. Got to do a better job, though, for Daniel. Daniel in that game, statistically, didn't have a great game. I think he threw for like 197 yards. I don't think he threw for a touchdown. That, to me, was one of Daniel's best games of the season. You know, for people that don't just look at stats, when you factor in what he had provided to him in that game, he was pressured 25 times. We didn't get anything going, in terms of being able to block and establish a consistent ground game. Jones was being pressured almost every time he dropped back. And he was able to somehow not turn the ball over, but 2, make some plays in that game to keep the Giants from within that game. But they got to help Daniel Jones out more next time we play Dallas. You got to be able to block a bit more. You got to give him more time. And I do think the one thing I think about is this when it comes to the Cowboys. What has this coaching staff done so well that we've seen this year? In-game adjustments, right? Well, you think about it. Now they have a game against the Cowboys. So now they have a game to adjust. So I think Brian Dable is going to come out with a much better game plan based off of what he saw. And I'm sure Dallas is going to make their adjustments as well. But I think Brian Dable is going to come out with a much better game plan based off what he saw in Dallas the first time around. And I think the Giants will keep that game very competitive. And I think that's a game we could certainly win on Thanksgiving. Me says November 12th here too, bro. There you go. Birthday brothers. The big 5-0. You're 50. Wow, congratulations, man. That's a great accomplishment, dude. Having so much fun with this season so far. It's been great, man. And happy birthday to you. Well, not yet, but when it comes around, happy birthday to you. And I can't wait, man. I'm gonna be 37. So we're 13 years apart. We have the same birthday. Look at that. Let's see what we got. Theodore Zeke. He says Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Brady, Jackson, Burrow, Herbert, then pick one of Jones, Hurts, Cousins, Stafford. I think it's very easy to say he's top 10. Theodore, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, and again, if I did a video, I would really like dive into the quarterbacks. I know we won a Super Bowl last year. I might have Daniel Jones above Matt Stafford right now. Have you watched Matt Stafford play this year? And I know he's dealing with an injury. Matt Stafford is playing in McVay's offense. McVay made Jared Goff an MVP candidate, by the way. He's playing in McVay's offense, and the Rams look like crap. Stafford does not look like the same quarterback this year. So I'd have to really look at the quarterbacks around the league. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's an argument to be made. He could at least be in the conversation. So, yeah. Let's see what we got. Kanyan. Happy they won, but we still have the division games. Yeah, can't forget about it. Right, it's 1 week at a time. We got to continue to get better, and we'll see. You know, you got to continue to get better. You got to continue to get better week over week. And yeah, Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, all in shambles. Yeah, I said Brady before. Not Brady before, rather Rodgers before. But yeah, Brady too. I mean, it's weird to say that those quarterbacks are not good, but they're not. I think we're starting to get a changing of the guard. And if you remember when it comes to like quarterbacks just fall off a cliff, right? Like look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning with the Denver Broncos in 2013 had maybe the greatest, I think it was 2013, had probably the greatest statistical year ever by a quarterback. I think he threw like 56 touchdowns. 2015, he wins the Super Bowl. He threw 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. And he's probably the worst single-season quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. If he wasn't the worst that year, he's among the worst. He was really bad. People just see the name Peyton Manning, but he was not Peyton Manning at that point in his career. Quarterbacks just fall off a cliff, man. At times, players just fall off a cliff, and I think you might be starting to see that with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They do not look like the same players right now. How many iPads did Brady? I'm not sure, man. Let's see what we got. Leo was like Chris's green screen right now today. I don't know what you mean by that, ECK. Case in point, Cam Newton. Yeah, he was another quarterback that just fell for sure. I mean, there's several others you could point to, Mets. Cam Newton was more so probably because of the hits he took throughout his career, not because of old age, but yes. Eli was better than Peyton in his career, especially with the Slade, man, I love you. And listen, I'm wearing his jersey right now. I'm the biggest Eli Manning fan there is. I can't say that. Now, what I will say, Slade, in the big game, I'm taking Eli. I'm taking Eli 10 times out of 10 in the big game, and I'm not thinking twice. Because if you look at Peyton Manning was not the same quarterback in the playoffs that he was in the regular season. So in the big game, I'm taking Eli. Eli became Peyton in the playoffs, and Peyton became like Eli in the playoffs. So in the big game, I agree that I would take Eli, but overall, you can't say that. I mean, Peyton Manning to me is one of the few quarterbacks in the history of the NFL that changed the game. He was basically the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, he changed the game. He was incredible. But in the big spot, yeah, I'll take Eli. You can't agree with Rodgers, right? Well, you don't think Rodgers fell? Listen, Rodgers, Rel, I'll say this about Rodgers. He has no help over there, right? He's dealing with the same situation that Daniel Jones is. And you know what's crazy, Rel? That just goes to show you how important weapons are in the NFL, right? Aaron Rodgers went from being the back-to-back MVP of the NFL. He loses Devontae Adams. And now look at his numbers. That just goes to show you. He's in the same scheme. LaFleur's still the play caller. Chris Trevor Lawrence has 0 comeback from behind wins starting back in his college days in the NFL. Really? Wow, that's a crazy stat, right? I had no idea that. He looks fried now. You're talking about Rodgers? Doesn't look the same, that's for damn sure. But some of that may have to do with the weapons. AA says, do you think the Commanders are better with their backup quarterback, Ryan? I mean, again, I don't watch Commanders games week to week, and I think this is the first game. I think Wentz started last week, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I don't watch them week to week. I know that he did decent for them last year. I don't watch them week to week, so I can't give you an honest opinion on that. But I know Wentz is not. I know his stats may say he's been playing decent, but you talk to any Washington fan, they say he's not playing very well. But he has very little help there too, if we're being fair. AA says 6-1 start has gassed a lot of heads up. DJ's body of work doesn't warrant discussion on top quarterbacks. He's playing well this season. Let's hope it continues. Okay. That's a fair opinion to have. Yeah, that's a fair opinion to have. And listen, let's hope he continues playing well. Like you said, that's all. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't care where he's ranked at the quarterback position. All I care about is this team winning football games, and is he helping this team win football games? And both are true this year. He has a lot to do with it, and we're winning games. And that's all that matters to me. He's proven he can win. He could come through in the big spot. He's also proving that he is a lot better than prior stats indicated, because now he's being put in a situation to be successful. I think he's proving that. I think that is very fair to say. I don't think it's a fluke. I think he now has a good offensive play caller, a great offensive play caller. I think he has a good scheme, and I think he has a coaching staff that gets the most out of their players. And you're seeing with good coaching the impact it could have on a quarterback. Without wide receivers yet, by the way. So I think that's fair to say. And PJ, thank you very much, man. He said, do you think we have a chance to trade for a wide receiver? Yes, but not a wide receiver that's making tons of money, but yes. 6 drops is ridiculous. And who was playing right tackle after Neal went down? Somebody in the chat say it. I can't remember off the top of my head the guy's name, to be honest with you. He actually played decent. He gave up one pressure that I noticed. But I can't even remember the guy's name. I can't even remember the guy's name that came in for Evan Neal. Johnny ABA. Somebody in the chat's going to say it, though. But he, I guess he played decent. You know, I guess Phillips. That's right. Phillips stepped in. If Evan Neal is going to miss extended time, my guess is we're going to have to add a tackle. At least somebody that could compete with Phillips, right? So we'll see. But he actually did a decent job. I'll give Phillips credit today. Johnny ABA says DJ is like an old school quarterback needing 3 to 4 years to develop. Hard to win long term like that in this salary cap era. You see, the thing is, Johnny, and I understand what you're saying with that. But here's my question to you, Johnny. Is Daniel Jones, is that what Daniel Jones is? That he needed 3 or 4 years to develop? Or is it that it took the Giants 3 or 4 years to give him a situation where he could develop? Because I'll tell you this, be honest with yourself, Johnny. If Brian Daboll was the Giants head coach year 1 for Daniel Jones, could you honestly tell me with a straight face that you don't think Daniel Jones would be further developed than he is now? I think he'd be. So to me, I think it's more to do with it's on the Giants why Daniel Jones hadn't developed over his first 3 to 4 years, more so than Jones. That's my honest opinion. I think they set him up to completely fail from the start, and John Mara admitted that. I think it's more on the Giants than Jones himself on the first 3 or 4 years of his career. And DJ Mav says, November 2nd, Scorpio gang, there you go, man. Imagine we win 10-plus games, come in third in the division, and have a third-place schedule at 23. Would that be good for us? Listen, DJ Mav, best-case scenario, Giants come in third, get a third-place schedule, and win the Super Bowl. Well, no, because then they would still have the 32nd pick. But win the Super Bowl is always the best-case scenario. The thing with that, though, DJ Mav, last-place schedule doesn't always work out the way that you think. And we won when we played Baltimore, but I think we could all agree they're not the worst team in the AFC North. Just so happened last year they had injuries. Lamar Jackson went down. They had a ton of injuries in their secondary, and they actually finished last in the AFC North. So we got paired up against them. The NFL is such a year-to-year league where teams change. Sometimes finishing last in the division isn't as beneficial as finishing third or second in the division, depending on how the schedule plays out, right? So it doesn't always work out that way. This year, I think the Giants in the entire division they benefited from a very weak schedule overall. But we're beating some pretty good teams. I'm not discounting some of the wins we've had. Sticky Fingers says, for the past decade, I celebrate Giants W's with pizza, beer for dinner. It's been good. Well, we won 4-6 a year. Now that Sticky Fingers. So Sticky Fingers, how many beers do you drink? I'm getting Sticky Fingers. If you keep up that tradition by year's end, you might have to go on the tainted diet. I dropped 48 pounds leading into the season. You might have to do that. But you know what? It might be worth it. If the Giants keep winning, keep eating your pizza. Don't change a thing. That's why I keep wearing the shit. Listen, shades don't come off. Second half adjustments, man. I know people in the chat tell me, Chris, you look like a fool. You look like a clown. I know I look like a clown. You think I'm the type of guy that would generally wear sunglasses indoors? I look like a fool. But it's working. I did it as a joke at halftime. They won the football game. It makes it more fun in the chat. We keep it up. So if you're eating pizza, you keep eating the pizza. You keep drinking the beer. And hopefully we keep winning football games. I think we were 10-1 when he shot himself. Plaxico, I think we were 11-1 actually, Nick. If I'm not mistaken. I think we were 11-1 when Burr shot himself. Nicolas Cage. I hear this every stream, Slade. I'm gonna pull up a quick picture of Nicolas Cage. I've heard this like my entire life. I'm talking like since I've been like 13. People have said you're Nicolas Cage. So that a lot every stream somebody says that. I'm trying to find like a picture before he was like bald. But yeah, people have said that to me throughout a large portion of my life. But every stream somebody new says it. Well, this is people used to make fun of me for my chest hair. And this is this is Nicolas Cage showing his chest hair a little bit. Because I used to show my chest hair a little bit on stream with some of the shirts I would wear. There he is on the left with the chest hair out. But people, I've heard that for my whole life. People have told me Nicolas Cage since I've been like 13, 14 years old. Let's see what we got. The shades look cool. You like the shades? Let's see. What's up, DQ, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. He's the Lost Beastie Boy member. Horny Tain in the chat. If the shades stop working, you got to go with the chest hair. Nah, I ain't going with the chest hair. Happy with the win today, but not truly excited about it. Like I was. Let me see what you said here. Happy about the win today, but not truly excited about it like I was the other games. Feel like we should be beating these teams more dominantly. See, Max, I personally don't think, and I said this before the game started, so you know I'm not lying. I think Jacksonville's a pretty good team. I know their record doesn't dictate it, but I think they're a pretty good team. Now, they're hit or miss, but they have talent on that football team. I was worried about this game on the road. There's a reason that we were 3-point underdogs. So this was a much more impressive win for me than the Chicago Bears at home. It was a much more impressive win for me than the Carolina Panthers at home. On the road against Jacksonville was a much more impressive win for me. I don't think this was a bad win. I think this was a good win. I don't think this was a team we should have killed. Houston's a team I think we should kill. I don't think Jacksonville's a team we should kill. I think it's a team we should beat, and we did. I feel like we should have blew them out, even though they are a good team, but we're more disciplined. Chris, just imagine if Dable was here for Jones' rookie season. He'd be a completely different quarterback. Great win indeed, Russell says. That's right, man. Jacksonville is a top 3 run defense at yards allowed and had one of the highest point differentials in the league coming into this game. That wasn't about, they had the third ranked. They were top half in the league in both offense and defense going into this game, going up against some pretty good opponents. They ranked 11th in yards for and 11th in yards against. Like you said, they were third in yards per carry against at 3.9 yards per carry in terms of run defense and had the third fewest rushing yards allowed per game. Listen, they have holes. They're a young team. They're but they're growing. But I thought this would be a tough game, and it was. But the Giants won. Stand up, Tana playoff bound. What's going on, Ben? Do you think Shane makes a trade for Claypool or Judy? Probably not, but I hope he does. All games have been close this year. Yeah, listen, Raul, at the end of the day, I don't care. There's no style points. There's no style points in the NFL. Yeah, I don't care. You win, you win. Blake says, why not go after a dude like Jarvis Landry? I don't know. Listen, man, I don't know. As far as Jarvis Landry goes, I don't even know how good he is. He's a wide receiver at this point. He used to be a good wide receiver, but how old is Jarvis Landry now? What is he, like 30? I don't know, man. Some call-in show. I'll probably do a call-in show at some point this week. I don't want to start taking calls because I got to be up for work tomorrow early. And I'm probably only going to hang out with you guys maybe another 20, 30 minutes. So maybe we'll do a video call-in show. Maybe we'll do a video call-in show tomorrow if I can, maybe. Maybe I'll do like an organized video call-in show where you guys get to call in. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow if I have time, maybe. And Brandon Frank, man, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll have like another Giants YouTuber on and we'll take some calls. I'll reach out and try to get some people on. That'd be cool. Gangrene David, man, thank you very much. Hey, Chris, been a while. Man, thanks for popping in, David, man. Hope you're doing well. Congratulations on your Jets, by the way. You're saying congratulations on the win, man. Congratulations on your Jets. And obviously, David, I don't get a chance to watch your Jets like you do because I'm a Giants fan. But if you would have told me, it's L.I. Owens. Oh, what's up, man? If you would have told me at the beginning of the year you guys would be 5-2, I would have said you're a maniac. Just like you would have said I was a maniac if the Giants were 6-1. So I don't know what's going on in New York, New Jersey area right now, but it feels good to be a New York football fan. And yeah, I think both teams are obviously headed down the right path, and it's great because it's been a long time coming since either one of our teams were playing good football, and I think it's legitimate for both of us. So it's great, man. He says, "Congrats on your win. Feels good for both New York teams to be playing well." But the Breece Hall injury, I didn't know he got hurt. Breece Hall got hurt. That sucks, man, because he's been playing really well for you guys. That sucks, man. We Evan Neal got hurt for us today, so that took a little bit of the wind out of our sails also. I picked the Giants to win 10 games since the summer. Well, Slade 1, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong, and I'm going to laugh at you because we're going to win 12 games. I'm going to be more wrong because I picked the Giants to win 7, but we're not going to talk about that. Respect the Jets. I got nothing wrong. I got nothing against the Jets. How do you feel about DJ being fired up after? Yeah, listen, Raekwon, I loved it, man. He showed that. I'm just kidding with you, Slade 1. Chris, do you think we can beat the Seahawks? Yeah, why can't we beat the Seahawks? Why can't we beat the Seahawks? We've beaten better teams than the Seahawks. It's going to be a tough game, tough place to play, but we can beat the Seahawks. I predicted 11. I'm going to be wrong too. I hope you are. I hope it's higher than what you predicted. 11 wins is probably what I would say right now. Probably 11, but a shot at 12. Yeah, the Jets-Giants rivalry doesn't make any sense to me. We play each other once every 4 years. The only time where I felt like there was a little bit of a rivalry between the New York Giants and the New York Jets was when Rex Ryan was the head coach for the Jets. I say that all the time. Outside of that, I never felt there was a real rivalry. I've never had any animosity towards the Jets. I have several friends that are Jet fans. I root for the Jets if they're not playing the Giants. I root for the Jets. Why? Why would I hate the Jets? So I'm happy for Jet fans. They deserve it, man, much like we do. Entertainer, what are the odds you think we split one with Philly? I mean, right now, because my odds may change. Like, I don't know, like, what our teams are going to look like in 7 weeks or whenever it is when we play each other, right? But right now, I'd say 50%, 60% we could get a split. I don't think that's crazy to think we could get a split with the Eagles. I don't. It's a divisional team. We beat them last year. Why can't we get a split with the Eagles? They're the better team. I'd favor them right now. But I think we got a shot to get a split against the Eagles. Absolutely, we have a shot to get a split against the Eagles. 100%. Astro Kid. Astros going to the World Series. Big win for the Giants. Did the Astros win? I know you're a big you're a Giants and Astros fan. Sorry, I know most of the people in here are Yankee fans, so I'm a Met fan, obviously, but I'm not going to make fun of you guys. Obviously, the Mets suck too, right? We lost. It's 3-3. Well, it's top of the third. 3-3. Runners on first and third. 1 out. So we'll see if the Yankees can get out of it. I didn't even have the Yankees game on. Peralta's pitching. So you didn't win yet. But, hey, man, don't. Let me see what Authentic said. But here's what I'm going to say. And obviously, Astro Kid, you are definitely trending towards winning this series, obviously. But don't count your chickens before they've hatched. I've learned that more so that, as well as anyone when it comes to the Mets. Mets had a 7-game lead with 17 games to play in 2007. They missed the playoffs. Think back to the Yankees-Red Sox, right? It was a 4-7 series. The Yankees had a 3-0 series lead against the most cursed franchise in the history of baseball, and the Red Sox won 4 straight. And it started with the Dave Roberts stolen base. So don't count your chickens before they've hatched. You got to close it out first. You got to win this game first. Authentic says, so, Tana, I need to get tickets for the playoffs. What do you mean? What are you asking? You need to get tickets for the playoffs. Are you saying you want to buy playoff tickets? Is that what you're asking me? The thing with the playoffs with the Giants, more than likely, it's going to be on the road. So I don't know where they're going to be playing unless we win the division. If we win the division, we'll be playing at home. But if we don't win the division, we're going to be on the road. Richard Arnold says, true entertainer, Yankees, Red Sox, 2004. Yeah, it all started with the Dave Roberts stolen base, right, in Game 1. And then obviously the Johnny Damon Grand Slam in Game 7. I remember that. But, yeah, man, don't rule it out. And the Astros just took the lead, 4-3. Oh, we all want playoffs. We all want playoffs. Playoffs? Playoffs? We talking playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game. The greatest sound clip in the history of football, by the way. Independent man, thank you very much. Think I saw the refs wearing FanDuel logos today. Yeah, they probably were. Giants need to stop putting Marcus Johnson. And Theodore, man, thank you so much, man, for the $2 donation, man. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you for tuning in. Chris, how do we beat Philly? How do we beat Philly? Listen, I think it's a simple formula on how to beat Philly. It's just a matter of, can you execute? It's doing exactly what we did to the Eagles last year, if you want me to be honest. Force Jalen Hurts to throw the football. But obviously now he has A.J. Brown. But if you could contain his running ability and force him to throw from the pocket and get interior pressure on him, I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance. That's how you do it, man. And obviously we got to control the clock. Listen, if the Giants, and Theodore says, watching creators like you, Bad Dog, Patricia, Authentic, and others make wins so much more enjoyable. I appreciate it, man. And hopefully it makes losses more bearable. I've tried during these horrible years for the New York Giants. But listen, if the Giants continue to do what they've been doing, and some teams it's going to be easier to do than others, but if you could continue to play this brand of football, it's going to give you an opportunity to win no matter who you're playing against. The Giants today they've played mistake-free football for the most part the last 4 weeks. They're not turning the football over, and they're controlling the clock. The Giants today possessed the ball for 8 minutes and 20 seconds more than the Ravens. Not the Ravens, rather, the Jaguars. When you do that, more often than not, you're going to win the football game. So if the Giants can continue to keep the opposing offense off the field and have long sustaining drives, they could beat the Eagles. Why can't they? But obviously you got to try to create turnovers. You got to put Jalen Hurts in a situation where, he can't do the things that he does best. Where Jalen Hurts is at his best when he's working off the run, he's working off the RPO, he could extend plays with his legs, allows his wide receivers to get open down the field, and he connects for big throws. But if you get quick pressure up the middle, you can contain him somewhat in the ground game, force him to throw from the pocket. Yeah, we could beat the Eagles. Blake, thank you very much, man. Looking at wide receiver, who we could afford and wouldn't cost much, there isn't much out there. Kendrick Bourne, Denzel Mims, I guess just roll with our guys. That's probably in the end what we're going to do. Maybe we make a small acquisition, but I think they're going to roll with hopefully getting Tony back after the bye. Wan'Dale Robinson maturing. Slayton, he's played pretty good. He caught the touchdown today. He did have a drop, but he did catch the touchdown today. He's played pretty well. They're probably going to roll with what we got. Like I said, maybe make a small acquisition, but I don't think they're going to break the bank. But we'll see. I mean, I'd be excited if they did. Mark, man, thank you very much, man. Is Tony really hurt, or is the new regime down on him? No, I think he's hurt. I think Kadarius Toney is certainly hurt. I know a lot of people say, he's soft and, he's a rapper. And no, I think he's hurt. He's hurt both hamstrings. I think he wants to be out there. It's a shame. My knock on Tony isn't that he's like soft. Like, I'm not like I'm making fun of him because he's hurt. I have legitimate worries that he could stay healthy. But it's not because I don't think he wants to be out there. I think he wants to be out there. I just think he's an injury-prone player, and he's always been throughout his career. So I have doubts whether or not he could stay healthy. Brandon, man, thank you very much, man. Do you think Seattle's a tougher matchup than the Jags? The Lions can also be sneaky good. Let's go Giants. I think it's about even. I think it's about even. I know Seattle has a better record. I think it's about even. In terms of difficulty, I think the Jaguars and Seattle are about the same. I'm not going to go by records. I know Seattle's 4-3. I know Jacksonville's 2-5. I think they're about the same in terms of difficulty. Maybe Seattle's probably a little tougher, just because you're traveling all the way across the country. You're playing in a more harsh environment. Like today with the Giants, it was pretty much almost a home game. It was like 50-50 because you have a lot of New York transplants in Florida. Seattle, that's notorious to be like one of the hardest places to play in the NFL. So because of that, I'd probably slightly lean towards Seattle. But in terms of like their football team, their talent, I'd say that it's fairly comparable. Seattle and Jacksonville. But because of the factors I said, Seattle's probably, I would say Seattle's slightly tougher. But it's pretty close for me. Just like I want to see Tibbs, Ojulari, Leonard, and Dex together. You and me both, man. I would love to see it. What's going on, Duran, man? Thanks for popping in. We are a team that has a guy that has a damn fine head on his shoulders in Daniel now. I hope he learns how to play, how to lead a football team, but it's all good. Plato joke. Listen, man, Daniel's growing every game. That's all you can hope. That's all you can want. He's getting better every game. Saying we got away with it is enough for Saquon out of bounds issues. He can't play anymore at the end of, oh my God. You're right. I should only pull up donations. Whoever, I forgot who said that before. I think it was Sticky Fingers. Jesus Christ. Some of you guys, man, and you're all entitled to your opinions, but some of you guys give me a headache. Some of you guys give me a headache. So because Saquon Barkley stepped out of bounds, we shouldn't allow him to finish games anymore? Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. Holy crap, man. Hey, Manny, man, thank you very much, man. Did you catch Sam Munson of PFF talking about Kayvon outrunning a cornerback and chasing down ETN on the pit? I did not. I'll definitely hopefully get an opportunity to check that out. But we'll see. But no, I did not. I did not get an opportunity. I definitely always like to go back and watch the highlights, though. So hopefully they show that play. I'll look for it on PFF on Twitter. But yeah, man, he's a freak athletically. He's a freak. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is a freak too. Our whole defense. We have a lot of guys on our defense that are freaks. Let's see. Yeah, it's a mistake. Exactly. It's a mistake. Relax, people. It's this, David. It's the same thing. The second Daniel Jones makes a mistake, the same thing's going to happen. And Sticky Fingers says, it's mud down here. NY Giants 26 says, good night, Chris. Long day tomorrow. Yeah, man. Best of luck with your surgery and everything else, man. But thank you so much for being here, man. And best of luck with the surgery tomorrow. Giants fans were 6-1. Enjoy the ride. Chill. Yeah, I'm with you. Just enjoy the ride, Lizzie. Soak it in. Relax. And tomorrow, we'll realize you're going to wake up to another Victory Monday. We've played 7 games this year. We've woke up on Monday 6 times very happy. We're not used to that. And I think a lot of Giants fans are, and the Yankees just got a hit. There you go, Yankee fans. I think a lot of Giants fans aren't used to it. They're not used to being happy. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to act. So they just look for things from within the game to be upset about. We won the game. Be happy. Let's see what we got. Blake, man, thank you very much. I do believe DJ has earned an extension, and I believe he will be our quarterback next year. I am worried Joe Shane may let Saquon walk, though. I think offer him an Aaron Jones deal. No, I don't think he's going to let Saquon walk. I don't. I mean, I might be wrong. All I could do is tell you guys my opinion. I could be wrong. He didn't draft Saquon. But I don't think he's going to let Saquon walk. I think they're going to work out a deal. Saquon is too important to this franchise. And again, provided he stays healthy. but he's too important to this franchise. They love him. You listen to Brian Dable in the post-game press conference, they love Saquon Barkley. They love Daniel Jones. And you'd have to be blind not to see the impact he's having on this offense. I don't want to give a Zeke contract. I continue to say that. I don't want to give him 6 years rather, with his injury history. I think 4 years with the ability to get it after 3 is fair. And you give him, top market money at the running back position. He deserves it. But I do think they're gonna work this out. I really do. I do think Saquon Barkley is gonna be back with the New York Giants. I really believe that. Let's see. She got sports raid. I just saw that in the chat. Lauren's awesome. I got to meet her a couple of times in person. She's awesome. So thank you, Lauren, if you're watching. CG says Lauren's fam. GJB says any of my subscribers. Lauren, if you're watching, I'm assuming you're watching. If you sent the raid over, if not, well, then you guys tell Lauren. I'm thinking about doing a call-in show tomorrow. I haven't done one in a while. If she's interested, she's more than welcome to come on as a co-host. Let her know. Oh, she's right there. Go over there, check out She Got Sports. She's awesome. I met her a couple times in person. Lauren, you want to come on tomorrow and co-host a call-in show? More than welcome. I don't know what time is good for you. Maybe I'll make it a weekly thing now on Victory Mondays. 7, 8 o'clock, whatever time works for you. But if you're interested, you're more than welcome to come on. She says, I met someone in the store who watches you. That's awesome. I've met a couple of people. I've met a couple of people in person that they're like, you're the Giants guy. You're the Giants guy. I had a part-time job. Actually, I was walking my dog. Maybe he's in the stream right now. I was walking my dog around my streets like 2 weeks ago. He's like, you're the Giants guy. But I remember one time I was working at like a part-time job like 2 years ago, and I was working behind the counter, and a guy walks in, and he starts looking at me like it's funny. Like he keeps looking down, he keeps looking up, he keeps looking down, he keeps looking up, and he orders his food, right? And he's sitting at the table, and he's getting ready to leave. He finishes, he gets up, goes to the bathroom, walks out, starts looking at me again. I'm like, is this guy into me? Or did I not pay my taxes? Or am I getting arrested? And he walks up to me like very fast, like aggressively. And I start to get scared. And he puts his phone in my face. And he shows me my YouTube channel. And every one of my videos are watched from start to finish. Like, he's not one of those subscribers that watches like 4 minutes and he clicks off. You know, when you see the videos, you'll see the timeline. It's start to finish, every single one of them. He says, you're the Giants guy. I'm like, yeah. How'd you know? He's like, I was thinking that the whole time. He said, I was too embarrassed to come up and ask you. But I watch your YouTube channel every single day. So it's happened to me a couple of times. People have come up to me in person. They've been like, I know you. You're the Giants guy. So it's pretty cool when stuff like that happens. But yeah, Lauren, reach out to me on Twitter. I think you follow me on Twitter. If you do, reach out to me on Twitter if you want to come on tomorrow. It'd be great to have you on. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody before you. Because I got into a conversation there. I read Blake's, but yeah, I do think they'll work out a deal for Saquon. I really believe that. Russ says, didn't Saquon have that smart play in London at the end of the game? Stop the hate. Yeah, Russell. Exactly. Like, relax. He made a mistake. He'll grow from it. He'll get better. If it cost us the game, I would have been pissed. But he's still a great player. He's still a part of this football team, and I'm very happy that he is. T says Tony isn't a rap star. He makes his money not playing football and stay out of the mud. Yeah, listen, Tony, the rap thing to me is completely overblown. If he was playing well for the Giants, nobody would care about the rap stuff. He's just got to stay healthy. Daniel, thank you very much, man. What's a fair price? Year's money for 8 and 26. Okay. And this is just me spitballing it. And I get asked this question a lot. For me, if I'm Joe Shane, everybody says franchise tag for Saquon. That's not happening. Like, you have to be realistic. That's not happening. Of course, financially, that would be the best. A short shelf life position, $10 million, 1 year commitment. You see what he does. You push forward. That's not going to happen. Saquon Barkley's not going to play on the franchise tag if he has a huge year. Saquon Barkley's going to hold out like Le'Veon Bell did, and he's going to sign elsewhere the next year if you come at him with the franchise tag. It's not going to happen. So, for me, realistically speaking, I think for Barkley, it's 4 years with the ability to get out after 3. So it's really 3 years. but it's a 4-year deal with a small dead cap at after 3 years. 4 years, $60 million, $15 million a year. That's the contract they come at Barkley with. You're gonna have to pay the guy, but I don't want to go past 4 years because of his injury history, because of the position that he plays. Daniel Jones, 3 years, with the ability to get out after 1. And I'm not saying I'm going to want to get after 1, but you want to leave your options open. If you got to go, you see how he does the next year with an improved football team. 3 years with the ability to get out after 1, $80 million total. You're talking about $26 million, $27 million a year on average, but you structure it in a way like the Carr contract where you only pay him $25 million next year, $23 million next year, and then you have a $5 or $6 million dead hit the following year if you feel the need to move on. So it's basically 1 year, $23, $24 million with a $6 million dead hit the following year. And if he continues to play well, you continue to ride with him. Saquon Barkley, it's basically 3 years, $45 or $40 million with the ability to get it after 3. That's what I would come at them with. And I think that's fair. But we'll see at the end of the year how it all plays out. You're just asking me to spitball it. NY Giants 26. He says, had to come back real quick. Just saw a pic of Dable smoking a cigar, signing autographs after the game. Play like a winner, act like a winner. Hashtag Dable. I can't wait to watch his post-game video while I'm going to bed tonight. I always do. That's like my routine when I go to bed. Manny Man, thank you very much. By the way, where did Nick go? You mean Nick Gates, I'm assuming? Gates is still hurt. I know he's like technically back, but he's still hurt. He's not ready to play quite yet. Hey, you know what? Maybe he ends up getting inserted into the starting lineup in 3 or 4 weeks if he's ready to go with some of the injury we had with Bredesen on the line. Hopefully. I'm not going to bank on it, though, man. 7 leg surgeries. That's serious, dude. But we'll see. The guy's a warrior. Garrett Jones, man. Thank you very much, man. My second favorite win of the year after the Titans game. Offensive players that should definitely stay. Jones, Barkley, Thomas, Neal, Robinson, maybe Slayton. Well, Robinson's a gimme. Neal's a gimme. They were both drafted this year. Thomas is a gimme. The only question on that list is Jones and Barkley. Slayton, I mean, maybe he comes back for a cheap deal. Depends on what his market is at free agency. But the only two like impact players that you listed on that are questionable are Jones and Barkley. The other 3 are definitely coming back. And I think they're both coming back right now, Garrett, if you ask me. I think all those guys are coming back. The first 5 specifically. Slayton, I don't know. But the first 5 specifically, I think are coming back right now. Just a matter of what are the contracts going to be? What's the commitment going to be? But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Joe Shane will go another way at the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to be wrong, though. Let's see what we got. Prince, when Trevor Lawrence was throwing into the end zone at the end, we should have been screaming fee, fi, fo, fum. Listen, man, Trevor Lawrence, and he's got a lot of talent. Like, for real. Like, he's got a lot of talent. Like, you watch him play, he's got you want to talk about a zip on a throw? You want to talk about a cannon? He's got that. And I'll tell you what, though. Daniel Jones got a pretty good arm. Daniel Jones has a better arm than a lot of people think. He's got some zip on his throws, too. But Trevor Lawrence he's got a cannon. He's definitely got a lot of talent. But here's what I'm going to say about Trevor Lawrence. He left some points on the field today. He overthrew, I think, 2 touchdowns earlier on in the game. I'm not talking about the last drive because that's whatever when there's like 3 seconds left. But I think he overthrew two touchdowns in today's game. Maybe it was only 1. But he left some points on the board today. He made a couple of bad throws. James Ramones, my man. Thank you so much, man, for the $2 donation, man. I appreciate it, man. And Mighty Mango says, hello, Chris, another Captain Morgan night. Go Big Blue in the Mango House. Let's go. Christopher Spires says, why Jones' agent going to allow him to sign a contract to get out after 1 year? Well, Christopher, do you think... Here's what I'm going to say, Christopher. Because you have your opinion on Jones. I know what your opinion is. You think he's Alex Smith. You think he's a game manager. You think that, well, you can win games with him. You don't want to commit past this year with him. You want to draft a quarterback. I'm pretty sure that's what your opinion, unless it's adjusted. But I'm pretty sure that's what your opinion is of him. If that's your opinion of him, why would you think that another team would offer him more than 3 years, $80 million? If you really believe that that's what Daniel Jones is, and that's the opinion around the league of Daniel Jones, why would a team offer him 5 years, $200 million? If that is what people think of him, because I know that's what your opinion is of him. So if that is what he is, why would you be scared that a team would offer him 5 years, $200 million? Let's see what we got. Blake Dwyer says, When will the NFL start Cole holding for Kayvon as he gets better, as he matures as an edge rusher? He'll get those calls. I hope, at least. He certainly wasn't getting them today. Grim says 4 years with Barkley's injury history is wild. At best, a Nick Chubb type 3-year deal might make sense. Running back contracts almost never age well. Listen, if you can get him to a 3-year deal with a 2-year commitment, I'm in. Mine is really a 3-year deal. It's not 4 years. My example is like a $2 million hit after 3 years. You can clearly easily get out after 3 years. It's a 3-year commitment. What you're saying is you want a 2-year commitment, 3-year deal with the ability to get it after 2. I don't know if that gets it done, but we'll see. And college guy, Chris, when and how did you and Bad Dog meet? We met online. We met once in person. We went to a Giant game together against the Jets, actually. I think it was 2019. But yeah, we met online. I was new on YouTube. I was making YouTube videos. I had not gone live yet at that point. A lot of my subscribers were like, Chris, you got to go live. You got to go live. I didn't go live. I didn't go live on YouTube till I had about 1,400 subscribers. I started like strictly video content. I went live on, I think, Sim's channel, nothing but Nick's, but I didn't go live on my channel. I didn't even know how to go live. And yeah, so a lot of my subscribers were like, Chris, you should start working with other Giants content creators. And I think the first Giants content creator I worked in terms of a live stream was with Pizzle, actually. Pizzle came on my channel. We did the Giants 49ers game together, I think it was, and which was a primetime game. And yeah, people were just like, you should check out Bad Dog. You should work with him. So I checked out his channel. I reached out to him and he's like, yeah, we'll do something. He didn't even know who I was at the time, I don't think. And so I gave him my number, whatever. The first week we were supposed to do a show together. He canceled on me. I don't remember what the reasoning was, but he said he couldn't do it, whatever it was. So then I'm like, all right, whatever. Second week comes around. I text him. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And we talked on the phone for like 4 minutes. We did like a 30-minute video just talking about the state of the New York Giants, and it grew from there. But yeah, I just met him on YouTube, man. Blake, man, thank you very much, man. Since when is being called Alex Smith bad? He was a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback. I didn't say it was bad. He's a quarterback with a limited ceiling. He's a quarterback that's a game manager. He's a quarterback that is not going to go above and beyond to help you win football games. He's a guy that's not going to make mistakes. He's a guy that's going to manage the game. He's a good quarterback. Good quarterback. I didn't say that Christopher Spire said anything bad. I just said I know his opinion of Daniel Jones. His opinion of Daniel Jones is he's Alex Smith. He'll never be anything more than Alex Smith unless he's altered his opinion. I happen to disagree with that. I think it's fair to say, if that's your opinion of him, that he could be Alex Smith now, but I don't know what Daniel Jones is yet. Daniel Jones, in my opinion, could get better. This is the first time he's had any sense of direction. So I think he could get better. So we'll see. Oh, there's Pizzle. You bet it was. I work with the little guys, as if I don't. Is that like a shot? Is that like a shot at me, Pizzle? I still haven't listened to your live stream, by the way. People said that you're taking shots at me and Bad Dog. I still haven't listened to it with you and Fisk, but I work with Authentic. When you came on my channel, how many subscribers did you have? The Hub. When he came on my channel, how many subscribers he had? I work with new creators all the time. Sebastian, man, thank you very much, man, for the $20 donation. I appreciate it. He says, Daniel Jones apologized after getting upset. The man is hurt, and he wants to play for the team. Sick of everyone saying we were getting lucky. I guess every Giant should hit the lottery since they're so lucky. Love you, Tana. Listen, my definition of luck and not lucky is... This is my definition. For everybody that's saying that the New York Giants are getting lucky, this is my definition. I bet you, if you went back and looked at the New York Giants in 2020 and 2021 under Joe Judge, in terms of getting lucky and fortunate with breaks, we probably got the same amount of breaks. The difference is this team, this coaching staff, is good enough to take advantage of those breaks and capitalize. That's the difference to me. I don't think this team this year is catching more breaks than I don't think this team is catching more breaks than any other New York Giants team ever did. I just think this team is a better team that takes advantage of the breaks that they've been presented with. I don't think there's how could you say a 6-1 team is lucky at this point? We're not lucky. And Sticky Fingers says, someone teach Kayvon to sell the hold. I'll tell you what, Sticky Fingers, he was throwing the arm up. He was throwing the arm up. He was trying to draw holding penalties. They just weren't calling it. Let's see what we got. Steven Lilly says, all the crazy crap this guy's done. Turtle and Dolphins. What's up, Lily? Good to see you, Lily, man, from across the pond, man. Let's see what we got. Christopher Spires says, should, as Giants fans, we want high-end quarterback than just sticking with Jones? But Christopher Spires, we don't know if Jones is not a high-end quarterback yet. I don't know it, at least. I understand that I don't think he's a high-end quarterback yet. And to me, my definition of high-end is Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. But we don't know yet. He's had Daniel Jones, throughout his entire career, has had a Toyota Prius. That's what he's had. He has gone to the racetrack. He's gone to the Daytona 500, right? And Daniel Jones has had a Toyota Prius. And he looks to his right, and he sees Pat Mahomes starting his career with Andy Reid, starting his career with Tyreek Hill, starting his career with Travis Kelce, sitting a year learning under one of the smartest quarterbacks in Alex Smith, and he sees that Pat Mahomes has a Lamborghini. He looks to his left. He looks at Josh Allen. He says, okay, Josh, you had Stephon Diggs. You got to learn for 4 years under Brian Dable. Okay, you got a Ford Mustang. Daniel Jones is in this race with a Prius. This thing is not even a V4, it's a V2. And Giants fans expect this guy to run the same race against a Lamborghini and a Ford Mustang and a Toyota Prius that has a push start button, and they expect him to be able to outrun those cars. It's not going to happen. So we don't know. Jones has not been provided with the situation to get the most out of them. That's my opinion on it. I'm not telling you that he's those guys, but I'm telling you we don't know what he could be yet. That's what I'm telling you. Amazing Grace says, Tana, I flew down to Jacksonville to watch the game, and tell you what, there was so much blue. That's awesome, man. Listen, man, they might be trash, but they're outrunning a Toyota Prius 10 times out of 10. But I'm glad that you enjoyed the game, man. I'm glad that you enjoyed the game, Amazing Grace, man. I'm glad that you had fun, and it looked like Giants pride showed up in a big way. And Lionel Russell, man, what's going on, man? Give credit to Gettleman. He just couldn't get the coach. Listen, Lionel, and I'll give credit to Pizzle. I know Pizzle's in. I think Pizzle's still in here listening. I'll give credit to Pizzle. And I'm going to give credit to myself. I'm going to tap myself on the shoulder a little bit, too. I stuck with Dave Gettleman until the end. I gave Dave Gettleman as long of a leash as I possibly could. And last year was a disaster with free agency. But yeah, listen, if you're being completely fair and you're not just somebody who's like blind to your opinions and doesn't want to give anybody any credit for anything, if you're being completely fair, how could you not give Dave Gettleman some of the credit for this team? It's literally his roster. Every impact player in this team right now, for the most part, outside of a handful, are Dave Gettleman guys. So, yeah, he deserves some of the credit for this team's success. He deserves some of the credit for this team's success. And it proves that coaching matters. It proves that Joe Judge couldn't maximize these players. It proves that Pat Shurmur couldn't maximize these players. Did Julian Love look this way? Did Julian Love look this way with Pat Shurmur? He didn't. Did Dexter Lawrence look this way with Pat Shurmur? He didn't. Did Daniel Jones look this way with Joe Judge? He didn't. So, yes, Dave Gettleman deserves some of the credit for this team's success this year. He still failed. His free agencies were still a disaster. He still deserved to be fired. But that doesn't mean that some good can't come from it. And you hope that Joe Schoen could take some of the successes that came from it and build upon it. Let's see what we got. Nick DeWick. People love hating on the Giants, but cannot name a target Daniel Jones is throwing to except Saquon. Also, give Pizzle his Slayton flowers. Does he deserve Slayton flowers? I'd have to go on Pizzle's channel and talk to him about that. Does he deserve Slayton flowers? I'm not giving him his Slayton flowers. I'm not giving him his Slayton flowers. Listen, Slayton's playing good. Slayton's playing good. But Pizzle said 2 years ago that Darius Slayton was more important to the Giants offense than Saquon Barkley. So I will not give him his Darius Slayton flowers. But I will say Darius Slayton's playing well. And I'm happy he is. I'm happy he is. And Mark, man, thank you very much, man. I hear Aziz won't be back until after the bye. I think it's 4 weeks. I think it's 4 weeks from what I heard. That he's going to be on the IR. Mark, I think it's 4 weeks. But we'll see. That was 2 years ago. That was a different team. Yeah, I still disagree. It could be 2 years ago. It could be 4 years ago. It could be on Pluto. It could be on Mars. It could be on Neptune. There was not 1 year. There was not one game. There was not 1 second. There was not 1 millisecond. There was not 1 half a second where Darius Slayton was more important to the Giants offense than Saquon Barkley. So yeah, that's my opinion on the matter. Obviously, we disagree. Christopher Spires. He says, what you do, Jones turns down, contract you want to give him. It depends on his market. If Daniel Jones turns down 3 years, $80 million, 3 years, $85 million, I say, okay, Daniel, tell me what you could get. And hey, listen, if a team gives him 5 years, $200 million, okay. Okay, Daniel, we're probably going to have to draft a quarterback at that point. But I don't think a team's going to do that. And that's not a knock on Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is good, and I think Daniel Jones maybe could become that type of quarterback that gets that kind of contract. But the majority of the teams that are in the market to take a quarterback are going to rather draft their quarterback. They're going to be picking at the top of the draft, and they're going to rather draft their quarterback that pay $40, $45 million a year for Daniel Jones. So they could pay their quarterback on the rookie salary. They have no connection to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones hasn't played in their scheme. Daniel Jones hasn't played with their players. So I don't think there's going to be a market like that for Daniel Jones. I'd be surprised. And Persian, man, thank you very much, man. Not even the referees could defeat the Shades. Yeah, and by the way, Pizzle, I did not steal the Shades, okay? Did not steal your shade routine, okay? I saw the Shades sitting next to me. I got these at training camp when I went, and it was halftime of the Giants game, and I said, Bad Dog, we got to switch it up. Let's try something new. I put the shades on. We both put our shades on. The team started winning football games. So you don't mess with what's working. Don't know if you thought that, but if you did, I did not steal your shades. I know that's your thing. Afghanistan, I think he's arguably our best wide receiver right now. I'm not saying a whole lot, but I believe he probably is, Slayton. I mean, well, hopefully Wan'Dale becomes that, but that's sad. But he probably is. And Joey Diaz, thank you very much, man. Where's Kevin at? Remember, he called me crazy for saying Daniel Jones would be the guy. He should stick to the Lakers. I think Bad Dog's probably streaming the Yankees game. And the Yankees just almost hit a home run, but it's an long out. But I think he's probably streaming the Yankees game. Jonestown citizen here. What is the Jonestown, Rob? I forgot what that is. Is that like people that supported Daniel, like always supported Daniel Jones? Is that what Jonestown is? I don't even remember what the reference meant, to be completely honest with you. Remember what that Bad Dog said? Let me read it again. Crazy for saying Daniel Jones would be the guy. He should stick to the Lakers anyway. I'm sure he said that. But to be fair to Bad Dog, it was understandable why someone would think that at that point in time. So I'm not going to kill him for that. But yeah, I mean, so far you're looking good right now, and I hope you're right, man. I've always said that I hope Daniel Jones is the guy. I came into this year with an open mind with Brian Daboll, a new offensive coach, and I wanted to give Daniel Jones a fair opportunity. I never wanted to draft a quarterback last year. I thought it was the stupidest thing the Giants could have done, and I'm glad they rolled with Jones another year, and I'm glad that Jones is proving a lot of people wrong. And I hope it only continues to grow and he only continues to improve as a quarterback. And I hope he becomes the next franchise guy. Jonestown was a Daniel Jones cult that all killed themselves. Is that what it was, Bluebird? Is that what Jonestown was? They all drank this liquid and killed themselves. Jonestown was a cult. I honestly don't even remember what the reference was. Prince Castro says, so in the name of superstition and tradition, the trainers pulled Darnay to the sidelines to rub one out every week. That was funny when you saw the picture of him with his pants halfway down. Yeah. I'll tell you what right now, if I'm going to be skeptical of a player right now on this team, Darnay Holmes is concerning for me. Darnay Holmes is concerning for me. And by the way, the Yankees just hit a home run. No, they just tied it up. Rizzo just got a hit. So Yankees just tied it up. But Darnay Holmes in the slot's been a bit concerning for me this year. He got cooked again this week. Giants got to improve. They got to improve their secondary in next year's offseason. They got to get help in the slot. I don't think he's the long-term answer. Maybe that'll be Aaron Robinson. Maybe Aaron Robinson will shift back to the slot. Who knows? But Darnay's left a lot to be desired for me this year. Maybe Flott becomes the slot, but we'll see. And Andrew, man, thank you very much, man. At this point in the season, should we try and get a wide receiver? Also, of course, Ingram could catch now. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's obviously going to be the biggest question mark for the Giants right now. Are they going to trade for a receiver? I mean, I'd love it. I mean, you got to give Daniel Jones some help. I just don't know if it's possible with our cap situation. Well, it is possible, but it's got to be within reason. It's not going to be DJ Moore. We're not going to add a receiver that's making $20 million, $25 million. Maybe we will, but I'd be surprised. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe the right fit could work. And I hope it does, because we need to add some help in that wide receiving core. Jonestown. All right. So my understanding is, okay, Jonestown was a phrase that bad dog. Here's my take on DJ hate and love. This is just my personal opinion. I think, like with anything, you have people that it's like politics too. You have people that are very far left, and you have people that are very far right. When it comes to Daniel Jones, the people on the very far right or whatever side that you think is the wrong side, very far left, very far whatever, people on the very far one side of the spectrum will say, the haters, the people that do not like Daniel Jones could throw 4 touchdowns. He can win 9 games straight. He could have 5 game-winning drives. And those people will not admit that they will still stick to their guns and say, we have to draft a quarterback no matter what. This guy can't grow, regardless of the improved situation, regardless of the fact that he inherited a Toyota Prius, regardless of the fact that he was set up to completely fail from the start of his career. This guy, no matter what, is not the guy. This guy, no matter what, his ceiling is nothing more than a game manager. That's one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum are people that say, no matter what, this guy is Pat Mahomes. No matter what, this guy is Josh Allen. No matter what, this guy's a franchise quarterback. And I think there's a happy medium. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's a happy medium where you could say, well, no, this guy was set up to completely fail. This guy was given in a horrible situation. This guy has tools. This guy has a good arm. This guy has good accuracy. This guy has good mobility. And with the proper tutelage and given a proper system and a good playbook and a good play caller and some better weapons, maybe Daniel Jones can develop into a very good to great quarterback. So I think there's a medium. I think you could be in between. I don't think you have to be so polar on the situation. That's my opinion on Daniel Jones. Let's see. Christopher Spire says, what you give up for wide receiver and draft capital depends on the wide receiver. I mean, if it's, it depends. If it's not a guy that's like a defined number one, I'm not giving up more than like a 4th-round pick. I'm not giving up an arm and a leg, for a project wide receiver. It depends on the receiver. Obviously, the better receiver, the more established receiver, the guy with the higher ceiling, you're going to pay more. But it depends on the player, right? Jerry Jeudy's probably going to cost you at least a 3rd-round pick, maybe a 2nd. Depends on the player. Joey Diaz, man, thank you very much, man. Bad dog should stick to the Lakers, period. Nah, man, I'm not going to. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You're not always going to agree with it, but everybody's entitled to their opinion. Stephen Lilly says, LOL, think Bad Dog a DJ hater. People need to read Roldy. Oh, dude. If you think Bad Dog's a DJ hater, you should listen to Jeffrey Abbey. Jeffrey Abbey hates Daniel Jones so much he can't even refer to him by his name since like the day he was drafted. You go on any YouTube page, anytime he comments, number 8. That's a DJ hater. Sticky Fingers says, why is your name the smallest word on your hat? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, good question. I got to talk to the guy who helped make the hat. That's a good question. But it's my logo, obviously. But yeah, it should be a little bit bigger. Good call. I didn't think about that. I haven't put the merch up for sale or anything like that. I'm probably gonna do that in a week. I got to talk to him. I think he made a website. So, but yeah, I got to talk to him about that. That's a good point. Let's see. What's your thoughts on Marvin Harrison Jr.? He made a good catch today. Made that one-handed catch. I don't know if he'd be available. I don't know what his contract is. Kudabang says, hey, Dana, what are you giving up for Marvin Harrison Jr.? Oh, my God. Before this year, I didn't watch a ton of college football. I do, but I'm watching more this year. Just because I have more free time on Saturday. So I've watched a lot of college football. Do you guys watch Ohio State football? Marvin Harrison Jr., unfortunately, he's not draft eligible. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 receivers in the NFL. He's insane. He's insane. He's the best receiver in college football right now. And he's a sophomore. Marvin Harrison Jr. is insane. Let's see. Third for Mooney? Yeah, I would give up a third for Darnell Mooney, 100%. Look who his dad is, though. Yeah, well, that helps. One of the greatest receivers of all time. Lake Nona says, Chris, I don't even think he's... Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. is really good. Anyone catch Tony tweeting during the game? I did not. What did he say? I mean, I'll look after the fact. Oh, you mean maybe you mean he didn't tweet anything derogatory? You just might not be happy that he's tweeting while the Giants are playing. Don J, man, thank you very much, man. Did Wan'Dale Robinson get hurt or is he okay? I think he came back into the game. He didn't make any catches in the second half, but he came back into the game. So he's okay. At least to my knowledge. I think he's okay. Yeah, he got his nuts tapped. Exactly. No, he looked like he pulled his groin a little bit. I was worried about that for a second. But yeah, he came back into the game. Any updates on Bellinger's eye? No, nothing that I've heard other than, nothing I've heard. I think somebody might have said something earlier in the chat, but I don't remember it. But no, I don't think anything defined in terms of how long he's going to be out. But he's probably going to miss a week or two if it's something that's, at least semi-serious. Hopefully not. Oh, he needs surgery. Is that what it is? So who knows? I don't know, man. He's in the hospital. Yeah. And Lou, that's a pretty good one. I'm not going to say it, but that's a pretty good name right there. That's a good prank name. Lou Sasshole. He says, would love to see what Tony could do when fully healthy involved in this offense. I think Tony fits the offense to a T. And I was excited when we brought in Dable and Kafka, and I thought that Tony would benefit the most out of every receiver in this receiving core. I think he'd be great in this offense. You just got to be able to stay on the field. But guys, it's 10:27. I'm getting tired. I just wanted to come on, celebrate the victory with you guys, hung out with you guys for over 3 hours. These streams fly when I'm talking to you guys. It's so much fun. Thank you guys for all the support you guys always show. Always love doing these with you guys, man. And I'm looking forward to it. And tomorrow I may do it. I'm probably going to do a call-in show if time permits, which it should. So I'm probably going to do a call-in show. I know a lot of you guys asked for me to do those from time to time. So maybe I'll try to get a guest on with me. If I get, we'll see. I'll try to get somebody. I always try to get a new Giants content creator on. So if I get somebody on, take some of your guys' calls, I think it'd be a lot of fun. And thank you guys again. The New York Giants are 6-1. Soak it in, Giants fans. Absolute blast. Had so much fun today in the stream. Absolutely love it. Thank you guys again for all the support. Let's go New York Giants. Let's get this win. Enjoy your victory Monday, guys. 7-1 coming up. Let's go.